you!
You're scared. And you should be.
This is not your company anymore.
Leave the cheek of CM Punk.
Out! Combo move! This is what they've been doing! Hey, McAfee!
Everyone shut the up and sit down!
We got a mom in the front row who taught her daughter how to suck dick!
I'm Mina Shirakawa. I used to be a model. I want to put on a big show.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome once again to the Saturday Shenanigans, hosted by yours truly, the Renegade J.J. Williams. Hi, guys. Hi, guys. CM Punk drama bullshit to the side. I still consider Heyman the worst AEW champion they've had. First of all, we're going to bring in Walter Cruz.
I said that as a joke when, what's his name, did his promo Monday. He said, I'm from a prestige university. I said he majored in Steiner math.
We've got the Heeb man, James Hebert, in the house.
I do really cool and dumb things. Bring the intense.
Right. A lot of shit going on here. A lot of fucking crazy ass shit.
Where is Noah JD? Well, say his name and he appears, because we believe in Noah Foster.
Fuck is this intro? It is one of those things where, as fans, we do have these desires of what we want to see, but sometimes you can't always get what you want, and there are reasons you truly don't get what you want. I wouldn't even listen to this in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. What the fuck is this shit? God, rapid whack. Like I said, never been a greater time to be a wrestling fan, and with more companies in a more lucrative spot, in a more comfortable business spot, in a sense of mind, it seems, than ever. Again, WWE is not the only one. It is not the end-all, be-all. So let's go back to the Renegade Wrestling J.J. Williams to get the official word. JJ, speak!
Make sure you tune in every week, because you never know who's going to drop in to join the shenanigans. Catboy is in the house.
Hello, my internet family. I say if you want to make them as evil as possible, make them really mad.
We have Mansfield joining the party now. What is going on, Josh?
Like I told no one when we were in Cleveland, him joining JC was just an unfortunate side effect of my shenanigans towards you, JJ. I know how it can get better, Noah. The panel chooses you.
Shut the fuck up, Josh.
You said that so like.
They got somebody to throw back.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Just like how you and I had lunch together the other week.
That was different.
Ladies and gentlemen, the King is here. Say his name and he appears. We believe in King A-Train. There are so many believers in Joe Hendry. The only person on this panel that doesn't believe in Joe Hendry is King A-Train. Tell the world why you do not believe in Joe Hendry.
The reason I do not believe Joe Hendry is he is Fandango 2.0 in a entrance merchant. I rest my case, Your Honor.
Hey! There's nothing wrong with being an entrance merchant. He has some of the best entrances of all time.
Teleporting into the command center, all the way from Angel Grove High, Datilla.
Oh, yeah. I went to the command center on Thursday. I went to Vasquez Rocks, which is where they filmed a lot of episodes. Somebody actually climbed to the very top of those rocks. I made it halfway. I was like, I'm not going up there. Definitely Toni Storm versus Mariah May. That's the one match I probably am looking forward to the most. I really like the story. I'm familiar with all about Eve, so if it plays out that way, I kind of know how this is gonna go.
Say goodnight, Datilla.
Good night.
James, you did say his name. So he shall appear, ladies and gentlemen, first time on the Shenanigans. Jeff Meacham is in the motherfucking house.
Ah! All right, we're coming in hard with the botch. All right, fucking hell. It's good to be back. It's good to have an opportunity to talk to the crowd on a Saturday.
If you want to have yourself stomach through it, you can go back and watch when the Main Event Mafia took over Impact. That's what James was talking about.
So if everybody just joined us, we're talking about people sedating people, attempted murder, boys, and tips. Welcome to Saturday Shenanigans, everybody. Aren't you glad I'm back?
Welcome back, Kevin.
Cool.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back once again to your weekly moderated conversation of wrestling matters on Saturday night. That is the Saturday Shenanigans. I am not the usual host of the most. It is I, once again, the Seminole Foster, in the proverbial hot seat once again, providing you the moderated festivities that are the Saturday Shenanigans. Happy Flag Day and Happy Father's Day in advance to everybody this fine weekend. Hope you all are doing well. Again, we got a nice panel tonight and a nice set of topics to discuss. And of course, if you want to dictate the conversation, Super Chat or PayPal the Passionate here. It is truly as simple as that. Thank the Lord, this is not a one-man show. This is not Noah Foster tonight. I am not alone. With me, as always, are a great few. And first, I would like to introduce James Hebert, the reliable Walter Cruz, and the renegade of wrestling JJ Williams, both, of course, playing Avatar Man. Well, gentlemen, it's good to see you all. Let's go around the horn and see how everybody's feeling so far. Hey, look, he's actually on camera. Good deal. James, I'll start with you. I just saw your crazy butt with Harkening for an Ash on Wednesday night. How you been since, man? How's your Saturday?
Pretty good. Did a bunch of work in the morning, and then in the night I streamed, and now I'm on another stream.
Yeah. So it just keeps going.
Yeah, pretty much. And stop.
A never-ending story. Good Lord Almighty. Well, that being said, we got the renegade of wrestling, Chase You Alumni, JJ Williams, also known as Avatar Man, with us tonight, and also Happy Father's Day in advance to this gentleman. Both gentlemen down here. I got the Fathers panel apparently here. JJ, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good today. You know, I'm only not on camera because I look like complete and utter shit, and I've only got one light on in the room, so not the best lit. So, you know,
yeah,
you guys get to look at the classic Chase U lineup, the action figure lineup that I have this evening, and just popping in as you were introducing me, it is not a testosterone-filled panel tonight. It does look like our Canadian friend, Ash, is here as well.
Yep, she's yours, she's mine, she's our Canadian friend, Ash. Hello, Ash. How are you this fine evening? Great transition, JJ. Great to have you here.
I'm doing well, thank you.
Hey, good deal. Sounds like you're stirring up not only trouble, but something enjoyable to eat while you're on the Shenanigans. So, good deal.
It's iced coffee.
Okay, good. So it's not necessarily Saturday Shenanigans after dark. That being said, it's also good to have Mr. Reliable and another father, Walter Cruz. Walter, happy Father's Day in advance to you. And how are you doing this fine evening?
Thanks. Well, going through a little bit, some personal stuff. So I'm just ready to dive into this world of professional wrestling and shenanigans with the friends to take my mind off of stuff.
Damn it. That's fair enough. I mean, again, we talked about before how this is almost like, not therapy, but necessarily a peace and a relief for all of us crazy yahoos here in the all of our lives, personal and professional drama aside. And I'll admit, I'm getting used to this, but I don't know if I want this to become a monthly thing, but I'm happy to help where I can. And again, shout out to everybody that's out there in the chat, watching across our outlets. If you haven't already, be sure to follow all of us here. Subscribe, especially to Bag for Wrestling and The Rage of Wrestling. Well, that being said, without further ado, as Nestor also said, subscribe. Gentlemen and lady, let's get right into it. So we got a nice light itinerary tonight. So let's go ahead and kick things off with the glamour. As, of course, we know, the glamour, Mariah May, of course, started her new, I would say, legacy on her continued professional wrestling journey. No longer Mariah May as the WWE name generator with some choice in your own way allows you to pick the identity that they will forever own you as, allegedly. And so her name has been decided to be Blake Monroe. Okay. So again, not necessarily the worst name I've heard of. And again, I don't know what her Death Rebel thing is going to be like. So I can't, friggin' roast that yet. But that is now the glamour. Mariah May's WWE identity. Blake Monroe. You would think it's maybe a shy out there to Marilyn Monroe. Why none of her vignettes have had her do the infamous fan vent scene yet with a white dress. And Blake, I think, has something to do with family, actually. So if that's the case, then I'm genuinely will support her in that, because I'm always going to support somebody that embraces family values in professional wrestling, especially in their career, especially the name leads to that. So let's go around and give everyone's initial thoughts on what now is Blake Monroe. Enter the glamour of NXT. And how fitting the person right next to me is the only female on this panel. Ash, let's start with you. What do you think of Mariah May's WWE name, and what do you hope comes from it?
I'm not really bothered by it. I like the story of why she chose the name. It's in homage and honor to her niece, which is pretty cute.
Cute. Well, again, people with a lack of sight, right? Blake Monroe, what the world? I mean, you would think they would do some generic, month and color or month and unique adjective identity, considering one person here had unique thoughts about that during our Wednesday call. So let's go get his thoughts now. James, what do you think of the name Blake Monroe for the former Mariah May?
Still should have been Julia June.
Here we go.
Or Olivia October, or Sammy with an I September. One of the three. Go for
You're
it.
missing 9 months, so good luck figuring out the rest of the name conventions you want to have.
Julie January. You really want to go through this?
I know you can. You are a freaking idiot, but you're a creative freaking idiot.
Jamie July. Jamie July.
Jamie July. There you go. There we go, Walter. That's how you do it.
Fiona February.
Fiona February. Yes.
April April.
Chat, let your names be known in the comments now. What sort of names would you give the Glamour Mariah May, where the month of the year is
Marcella March?
I'm legit kind of finding it humorous they didn't just make it Mariah March.
Yeah.
That does seem to roll more off the tongue, honestly.
Honestly,
I guess,
yeah, like Ricky Saints and now Mariah March,
The Destiny December apparently was too long to put on the banner. Anyway, Walter, while you got into the shenanigans already, let's go ahead and dissect your brain more on this. What do you think of the name Blake Monroe?
I have no issues with it. I mean, it's a part of the wrestling industry. It happens the other way. We had to call Rusev Miro. We had to call Adam Copeland Cope. We had to call it just takes getting used to. What's more important?
I still call him Copeland.
I know. It just takes getting used to. What I'm more intrigued is her character and what she does in between the roles more than what I have to call her on commentary.
Yeah, and again, based on the vignettes, it feels like it's going to be one of those retro TV advertisements for a bygone movie star with a little bit of a cartoon pop to it based on the graphic we saw at the end of the vignette. If y'all watched NXT this week.
It reminded me of I Dream of Jeannie or something. Remember the little endings of I Dream of Jeannie and stuff? They would do that. That's what it felt like.
Well, yeah, except it wasn't in full color this time. It wasn't black and white. Don't give them ideas. Well, that being said, Safet, Matt, it's great to see you as well. And let's go ahead and get, again, this is his NXT. Let's go ahead and get ready to rest JJ Williams thoughts to conclude this brief discussion before we go into possibly our next topic. JJ, what do you think of the name Blake Monroe?
Honestly, like the rest of the people here, I really could care less. It seems to me like the only people that care, and I'm not saying this to spark tribalism or debate, but the only people that really seem to care are the people that are firmly planted in the other side of the camp. When an AEW person comes to WWE, the AEW fans get pissy about the WWE changing their names. When a WWE person goes to AEW and a name change occurs, the WWE fans get pissy that AEW changed their names. The real fans that like everything don't give a shit. You know, and it's the truth, it's actual. You know, to quote Uncle Remus, like, it's not that big a deal. To Walter's point, I'm more curious what they're going to do with her once she steps inside the ring.
Exactly.
What the progression of her character is going to be. Is this a true evolution of the All About Eve storyline from AEW? Because those familiar with the movie know that at the end of the movie, Eve has her own super fan waiting in her dressing room to start the cycle all over again.
No.
Mariah was the super fan to Tony. Are we going to find in a couple of weeks Blake walking into her dressing room and finding her super fan? And the evolution is just going to continue, because then I can understand a little bit of an issue from it. They're legitimately just recycling the Mariah Tony story with now Mariah in the role of Tony. Then I could understand it, but if you know the movie, you know the cycle repeats itself. So it would be a smart way to go and a dumb way to go.
Yeah.
All at the same time. As far as the comparison to 60s television, I do get the comparison, the I Dream of Jeannie, the Bewitched. For those that don't know, the video package was almost a shot-for-shot knock on Sabrina Carpenter's opening video in concert. I've never seen Sabrina in concert, but people have posted the side-by-sides. And you can literally see it right there in front of you.
WWE,
how Mariah and WWE basically lifted it.
Go figure, WWE not finding something original, but taking something from pop culture.
WWE has always had its finger on the pulse of pop culture, though. Going back to the War to Settle the Score and the Brawl to End It All in rock and wrestling.
Yep.
So is it really that surprising?
No.
And is it really that sinful? Like,
nah.
WWE has always been more the pop culture, where AEW, by its own admission, has been for the sickos, the diehards. You know, ever since Cody and Jade left, you really don't see a whole lot of like outside crossover on the TV anymore, aside from Big Boom AJ.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you think about it, when they were there, you had Shaquille O'Neal, you had, you know, the Bow Wow thing with Jade, you had some of the other rappers that Jade was bringing in and doing stuff with. Once Cody and Jade left, a lot of that stopped.
Yeah.
So the pop culture, you know, it is what it is. Tiffany Stratton's a huge Sabrina Carpenter fan. You know, I almost want to see Blake go up to the main roster and repeat the story with Tiffany.
At this point, have Sabrina make her theme too. Just go all out.
Yeah. There's been rumors about getting away from Def Rebel and WWE trying to tap into other artists. Hell, Limp Bizkit is back doing Braun Breaker's new theme.
I'm so
why not
stoked for him.
So why not tap Sabrina Carpenter to do Blake's theme, since image for image it's biting Sabrina?
Exactly.
And better time.
Metro Boomin has been freaking tweeting that he wants to work with WWE and make people's themes too.
Yeah, he wanted to redo Truth's, and Truth was like, nah, it's too iconic. People know it as soon as that beat drops.
Yeah.
This is accurate.
There's
Plus,
some things that just won't change.
Plus, it's his own voice, so he gets residuals.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why
exactly.
the Rock's theme never really did much when it changed drastically. Like I remember when Aggression came out, Rock came out one night to his theme on there by Method Man. Never again, because people didn't realize who the fuck it was until it got a little bit deeper into the song.
Yeah.
Whereas the Rock's theme with the whole "if you smell" at the beginning, that's iconic. You know who that is.
Do y'all remember when R-Truth came out to get crunk?
No.
Yep.
No,
I do.
That beat was dreadful. It was the worst. I feel bad for Truth because he actually was spitting some bars on that one, and then he gets the shittiest beat of all time.
But yeah, like I'm looking forward to seeing what Blake does, what Mariah May does.
Yep.
It's gonna take some getting used to.
Yeah.
You know, calling her Blake Monroe.
Yeah.
But we've adapted pretty easily to Ricky Saints.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just gonna take some getting used to.
So I see where a lot of people are coming from with like I don't care. I'm typically one of them at this point. Like I don't really care about the name change because I've chopped it up to it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I think the reason people get so damn hot about it is, you know, it's never for the worker, you know, like you're not allowed to essentially make your money off the name that you've been making your money as. You have to pick a name because they want to own the rights to the name, and then only give you a name if you're like somebody that's like a legendary superstar. Like Taker obviously has rights to his name now, right?
Yeah.
You know, but Edge doesn't, and stuff like that. And it's very much, it's not guaranteed that you'll get the name that you've made in WWE. And that's the problem I think a lot of people have with it is WWE likes to have their cake and eat it too. And I think that's the only issue with that. It's for me, I think it's more of a workers problem because they should be, you know, having rights to their IP, their name, because they're the reasons why the audience is going and paying a ticket, no matter how big or small they are, right? And I think that's why people have such a bitch about, you know, name changes like that, and then people not being able to keep their names from the WWE when they made that work for so long. Like, people are like, well, Undertaker's great, but what about Edge? Why did he have to change it to Cope or Adam Copeland? Why couldn't he use Edge? He had done so much for the company. Why couldn't he have been given that courtesy? This is more of a, hey, this is on WWE for not allowing it. I don't think it has anything to do with a bitch on the side of AEW because, you know, I keep up with AEW when I can, if I can. This is more of, it's always been a problem for a long time. This is even before AEW was ever a thing. I always hated this whole name convention shit because it just kind of takes money away from the workers that they could otherwise potentially be making.
Well, like you said, it's a problem as well as the business itself. And a person that can tell you all about the business then, now, and forever is definitely this gentleman joining the panel. Another father, Jeff Meacham from Undisclosed OC Kingdom. Jeff, also known as Avatar Man. We got two Avatar Mans in between the father. I got a row of fathers below me. This should be interesting. Jeff, welcome to the Saturday Shenanigans. Hope you are doing well before I stay advanced. Welcome to the conversation. We're talking about the glamour, now known as Blake Monroe, also WWE's version of Sabrina Carpenter, and whether or not they follow the All About Eve storyline and maybe someone like Tatum Paxton that might be more batty and crazy, no offense, than Mickie James, when Mickie James stalked and followed Trish Stratus. That remains to be seen. But if you want to speak right now, go ahead on Blake Monroe. And how you feeling, by the way?
I am feeling great. I'm actually on the tram between my location and the happiest workplace on earth, so hence the avatar status. So as far as Mariah's new name, I actually love it. I really do. I think it's cool. I think the fact that they, combine elements from Blake Lively and Marilyn Monroe, two very popular, the icons of the past, is a great way to go. As far as the Sabrina Carpenter thing, it's definitely a reference. If you watch her, I forget what video it was, intro video to her concert, I think is what Denise Salcedo compared it to. It's very much referencing to it. That's the whole point. I love the presentation so far. I'm so happy for her that she gets to be on the big stage of WWE. WWE diehards are really about it, but that's their problem, not mine. I enjoy it. I like wrestling so far. I look forward to the rest.
Yeah, I like wrestling so far too. There's a reason why I look at everything. Some stuff I watch live, some stuff I just highlight, but I still keep up with everything because I'm not sicko, I'm not a hardcore, I'm not a casual, I'm definitely not a sports team enthusiast. I'm not even a wrestling enthusiast or WWE enthusiast, but I still keep up with everything, including the Big E. All right, well, fair enough. But yeah, for me, I don't have a problem with it either. I saw Sabrina Carpenter thing a mile away. It almost feels like to me they might try and turn her into a Barbie doll versus Tiffany Stratton. And again, she's blonde, she's beautiful, she's everything that WWE would love to do with somebody that's marketable. And she has the skills to back it up. Now, whether or not WWE hones those skills or use it less for that versus making her more of a pop culture icon or a storytelling figure, that remains to be seen. Then again, right now, she is in NXT where they wrestle more down there than on the main roster, and they focus more on that there too. I still consider NXT the wrestling brand. So I am curious to see what the Blake Monroe character development brings forward. And if somebody does become obsessed with her in a way, or whether or not she chooses still to stand out on her own. We saw what she tried to do when she confronted the entire NXT Women's division, including the current NXT Women's Champion in Jason James. Still questionable in my opinion, but whatever. But I'm curious to see what this leads to, and I definitely see her being a part of Evolution one way or another, despite these 4 matches that determine who will challenge for the NXT Women's Championship, including a certain gentleman's Mamacita that I know he's rooting for quite heavily. All right.
Which Mamacita?
Exactly. Ask him that. Don't make him choose. Red pill, blue pill. Walter will have a freaking heart attack. Someone have the defibrillator and stand by. Good grief. All right. Well, that being said.
Real quick, Noah, I know Jeff had to mute kind of rapidly. Did he still want to say anything more?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that. Jeff, is there anything further that you wanted to say? I know that, you had a momentary pause you had to do. Do you have anything further to say regarding Blake Monroe?
No, actually, I had it timed pretty good. I've got it pretty well down that I know when the spiel is going to start, so I can get my points across if I'm not actually actively working. So I'm good.
Oh, well, brilliant. He's brilliant. Everyone here is brilliant. And I think
just wanted to make sure.
Absolutely. Again, I'm trying to, make sure the avatars get their. What time am I at? Okay, get their shit in. All right.
I am trying to. I'm trying very hard to get across the property so I can throw my TNA baseball cap and actually be on camera. But when I'm moving, it's just not a good idea, just in case I got to divert somewhere. So.
Yeah, that's freaking fair. Okay. Well, that being said, good for.
And let me just say before we move on to the next topic, Noah, you're doing fantastic. Thank you for filling in.
You man, brother.
The things I do for friends. You're all welcome. All right. So let's go ahead and move into our next topic of discussion. Talking about movie stars or movie star cosplaying, lights, camera, action. This week, we also had a summer blockbuster. Another 4-hour dose of all elite wrestling content. That was the most batty shit I ever got to call in my life for more reasons than one. And somehow I freaking love it. I don't know if that makes me sane or insane. Folks, you be the judge. Shout out to Ash and James for their incredible commentary work and driving my insanity.
See what happened is the TISM and the ADD kind of combined together, and with the power of Grayskull, we had the power.
So what you're telling me, James, is the Wonder Twin power activated?
Form up.
Yes, they did.
I love how Ash is covering her mouth like tee-hee, tee-hee. We did the thing, tee-hee.
Hold on.
Did. I said some very out-of-pocket shit.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. It was funny, though.
That's the whole point. It was just to get a laugh.
Real quick, by the way. Sure, Ash, you certainly were entertaining, but you also had fun. Despite the fact that, again, figure those that tune into our watch along of Summer Blockbuster for another 4 freaking hours. Damn you, fragging sports! I thought B-level class movies were bad.
You know what the crazy part is? It didn't feel like 4 hours.
It did
No,
not.
it didn't actually.
No,
This one actually felt much more of a flow, personally, and I enjoyed Summer Blockbuster more than Fyter Fest, if I'm being perfectly honest. That being said, let's go around and get everyone's thoughts regarding Summer Blockbuster before the commentary trio maybe lends their closing thoughts towards what the fuck happened. Walter, I'll start with you right down in the middle because we previously, of course, have called it AEW. Did you look? I'm not sure you're as crazy as us. Did you look at any of the highlights or any takeaways that you remember from Summer Blockbuster at all?
I looked at some highlights. I didn't actually watch it yet. I haven't been able to go back and watch it, so I'm still going to watch it. I did see like the Kenny Omega Okada segment and him spitting blood and everything. And of course, that's your, I guess, bromance. If I got to pick between Mamacitas, that's your bromance, though, that you got to deal with. You're not going to be able to choose. I even tweeted it. I'm gonna pick Omega, but I really want Okada to win. Goddamn it, that's what I want. It's the heart versus brain thing. But I just feel like I know how they're gonna book it, even though I want Okada to win. But
I agree.
and I saw the Hurt Syndicate thing and MJF wearing MVP inspired gear. But that's pretty much all I saw. Oh, and the ending with Tony and the ending of Dynamite, not Collision, but the way Tony and Mercedes and the weird things going on between them. So that's all I saw, though. So that's all I can comment on. But AEW's doing this thing, and wrestling as a whole is on fire. Both companies. People don't need to be tribalistic and pick one or the other. Just enjoy it.
If only it was that simple. Some people are like, there's no debate. You have to, have a great conversation. But your conversation out of necessity. Again, some people just don't know when to freaking take a chill pill and freaking enjoy. And hey, look, Scully vibes.
Hey, Scully, what up?
Oh shit, what's up, Scully? Goddamn.
Thanks for tuning in
What's
to
the vibe?
Shenanigans. With all the
There you
positive
go.
vibes, I'm sure.
Good to see Scully in here. I wasn't
About to
surprised.
say.
I wasn't expecting that at all.
Well, it just goes to show how much the Simulable Studios has really expanded out to the IWC, as they're called, the good in it. And, of course, the spaces that you all and DJ and everybody else takes part in. I don't, because you yahoos do that while I'm working. Anyway, that being said, JJ, let's get your thoughts towards Summer Blockbuster. Did you catch any highlights at all? Do you have any takeaways from anything that you may have saw or even heard if you went back at some of the play-by-play that we called?
I did not see it. I did go on Thursday to try to watch it, but I noticed that some of it wasn't on the Sling. So I thought that Walter had deleted some of it. So I wasn't able to watch it. I did want to. The only thing that I want to ask about, because this is a common complaint that I've heard from a lot of people, and so I kind of want to get the commentary team's take on this, is the formatting of it. Instead of formatting it like a 4-hour spectacular, a 4-hour free pay-per-view on TV type of thing, which I think a lot of us maybe assumed it was going to be like, since there's no pay-per-view for June for AEW. It was more so formatted as the first 2 hours were Dynamite, the last 2 hours were Collision. And waiting 4 hours to get to a lackluster main event in comparison to the other 2.5, 3 hours that you had in front of it. I've heard a lot of complaints about that maybe the show could have been a little bit formatted different so that you ended the 4 hours with something a bit more spectacular, a bit more cliffhanger-y, so it's not a flat main event, if that makes sense.
Before they answer, I didn't delete any of it, but somehow Sling split the Collision part into its own thing under the Collision. So it's like 2 hours under Collision and the The 2
But
hours
I
under
didn't see
Dynamite.
I didn't see it under the Dynamite though. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like I went and looked at both, and I saw the collision part, but I didn't see the Dynamite part. And from everything that I've heard, the Dynamite part's the best part. So
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was running out of room or something. I don't know. I didn't touch it though. But either way,
so,
yeah.
but I did want to go back and watch it. I just was unable to. So,
Yeah.
would you guys say that that was an issue for those of you guys that did the watch along? Was formatting maybe a, you know, I want to go to Noah first on this one because I feel like he's my real litmus test. If he feels formatting was an issue, then I know it was an issue. You know what I mean? No disrespect to Ash or James, but Noah very rarely gives like a heavy criticism. So if he can agree with that point, then I know that it's a valid critique.
It's one of those things that I definitely don't look at what I watch necessarily if there's a formatting issue or a booking issue, because I don't look that in depth. I just enjoy the product. But I also can kind of understand where people are coming from that, because it's like what I call it. It was an encore of literally Fyter Fest's main event. So to put this in perspective, to break down basically what you all are talking about. Yes, Summer Blockbuster was not a free 4-hour pay-per-view level show. And you're right, there's no pay-per-view for June, but this just goes to show you don't need a pay-per-view every month. I'm just saying, and we already complained about that type of stuff enough. But it still was fun. It was Dynamite Collision back-to-back, because again, fracking sports. That's why I didn't have anything on Saturday, and I literally slept and woke up 2 minutes before this dang thing went live. But as far as the formatting thing, before I dissect any more into Summer Blockbuster and why I enjoyed it, it's one of those things where, again, a TV show of professional wrestling does not need to be longer than 2 hours, though I will give Monday Night Raw some credit, not a lot, some credit when they got the 2.5-hour soft spot down to a T, although a couple of things could be removed and you would be 2 hours, and I think you would probably be the perfect show every week. But I do think, in a way, if it's not the fact that we're focused so damn much around the Don Callis family versus the Paragon, then yeah, I think it would be a formatting issue. But the bigger story here is Kyle Fletcher is going to challenge Adam Cole for the TNT Championship, and this ongoing blood feud, it feels like, that's got to lead to blood and guts, I think, eventually, with the Don Callis family versus insert opposition here. But personally, if it was me, I would have changed it, because I don't think you need to end 2 shows back-to-back. This is a WWE flaw. 2 shows back-to-back with the same people in the main event. It was literally the exact same conglomeration of people on both sides, practically. Even the Hechicero connection from CMLL, it was the same thing. Personally, I would have had him clear on Manava Specula, because that match fucking hit hard. And that was probably my favorite match of the entire Toronto Collision. I think you both would agree. So, in simply put form, I do agree there was a bit of a formatting issue. And I wish they did change it up, where that 8-man may have been, I don't know, the start of the second hour of Collision, and you actually ended with Thekla versus Grimanata, because at this point, I'm just waiting for Jamie Hare to come back and hit Thekla really hard. So I hope that answered Jaden's question. So I did see James' hand go up. So James, would you like to rebuttal off the formatting question and issue and concern or critique? And then why don't we go ahead and get your thoughts towards Summer Blockbuster, and then we'll go to Ash last.
So I think the reason they ended it the way they ended it is because they wanted it to end with Don Callis family with the W again on the second show, because they ended it with the W on the first with the Okada assault.
The L was the Don Callis family on the Fyter Fest main event. Remember, it was Dan.
No, yeah, I'm talking about Dynamite before Collision.
I see.
Yeah,
bridging Dynamite and Collision with Don Callis family shenanigans. Continue.
Yeah, I think that's why they ended it that way. I think it really came down to, okay, we could end it with Thekla and Aminata, which would probably be better because that's the new signing we just had, or we can tell the full story of the Don Callis family like on a high. And so they ended it with a high by having them get a win with them. Now, does that necessarily mean that that's great for the main event spot? No, but it made more sense than if you did it any other point in the show. So by that logic, I think, book ending both of your main event for Dynamite and Collision with the Don Callis family on top is probably the best way to go about things. So I didn't have that many issues with it. But then again, we were also dicking around and having fun, and the thing happened after the Tekla match, and we were just completely it was.
I'm looking at both of you, by the way.
I did rails after that, so
yeah.
I don't know if I'm the right person to ask, but I had a good time. I was having fun. I enjoyed the shit. And by the way, I kind of like it what AEW is doing for their main stories, personally. I think that the main stories are actually doing really well. Even the fucking Death Rider storyline, which I hated in the beginning. Everybody knows I hated in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's kind of getting into a position where I'm starting to like it. I'm starting to like the direction we're going in. I think there's a lot of elements that make sense. As much as I can't stand the Young Bucks. Oh, can I not stand the Young Bucks as people? At least they're in the proper role, and at least Hangman is far the fuck away from them and against them as humanly possible. And by the same token, shit, now the way they were able to bridge the gap between Swerve and Hangman, I thought was done brilliantly, because there was no other. I didn't know how you would do it, but they managed to pull it off perfectly by having Nana listen into his conversation with the fucking Bucks. Him actually defending Swerve in that instance. That's all it needed to happen. Now it looks like we're going to probably have a goddamn team. Have we had Blood and Guts yet? We haven't this year.
No, not this year.
I am thinking we're starting to lean towards it. I think we're going to get a Blood and Guts sooner rather than later. Now, whether you do that on pay-per-view or you do that a couple weeks after the pay-per-view, traditional for it to be on Dynamite, that remains to be seen. If it's me, you should have Hangman win the belt, and then the blow-off to the entire story is 2 weeks after in Blood and Guts, because I always found it weird that you had Blood and Guts, and then all of a sudden you're blowing off the single feuds after the fact. Always never made any sense to me. So if they do it the opposite way, that'd be a good change of pace. So we'll see how they go about it, but I feel like now, it's going to be Ospreay, Hangman, Swerve, maybe Darby and somebody else. I don't know who the fifth person could be. I know Darby's got to be one of them, because he's set to probably return any time now. But overall, the Swerve and Hangman thing after the blood feud they had, that was going to be the biggest test on how they can really tell a good story. They did it, and kind of shocked me a bit. So it does show me when AEW wants to, they could tell a really good story when a lot of people don't give them enough credit for. The way they pulled that off was very well done. So hats off to them.
All right, fair enough. Well, Ash, I mean, it's been pretty fair to say that Collision has become the Don Callis family takeover show. So, in a way, with the way James bridged Dynamite and Collision conclusions, I can't see his point. And again, Ash, you're entertaining. Stop being like, I'm scary, because people would not expect anything less here at the Super Reliable Studios, considering I'm the only straight man on this entire panel that has to keep the play-by-play going while you all break me. Congratulations, you both succeeded. That being said, again, it was a very fun call, so why don't you go ahead and give your thoughts towards your summer Blockbuster showcase, and also the formatting issue that some people might have with the Don Callis family main eventing till end Do you think James kind of bridged the two together? Were you more for it or against it? Would you rather saw maybe Adam Cole versus Kyle Fletcher in the main event, focusing on the TNT Championship and maybe that adding more essence towards the TNT Championship match that we know got to be impending? Would you maybe have had that 8-man in a different spot? Go ahead and give your thoughts towards all this Summer Blockbuster. Go ahead.
The sad part is I forgot that match main evented Collision.
Okay.
Adam Cole was in the match.
I know, but that's the sad part. To be fair, my memory is not the best. Maybe it's because I wasn't really feeling the match, even though I like most of the people in the match.
That's fair. Also, you both were batshit crazy during that.
Yeah, although to be fair, they were doing a good job of hyping up potential contenders for the TNT title, because we don't know who Adam Cole's opponent is, even though it's more looking towards Kyle Fletcher. And I will say about this about AEW, for the Summer Blockbuster that they had, this time around, AEW actually did a pretty good job of intertwining different angles and feuds. Like, they are able to tell like a bit of a cohesive story, or like making everything like seemingly connected in some shape or form, which is my main criticism of AEW is that it's not that they don't have stories, it's just that they're not executed to the best. Whereas this 4-hour block, they proved that they are more than capable of doing so.
Yes. One of the things that I wanted to say is, or wanted to ask is, where the fuck is Mark Davis? Injured again?
Possibly. I haven't looked at no injury report. I don't know. Good
Does
question.
Does anybody know the whereabouts of fucking Mark Davis? Because I swear Aussie Open reunited.
They did, and I don't know what happened to him either. I thought I heard he got hurt, but I don't remember if I heard he got hurt. I don't know.
Okay,
that's what I like about TNA. They actually give you injury reports during their show.
Yeah,
like they should start doing that in all of them.
They're the only ones that actually do that. All right, we got Jeff back on camera with TNA Caps. We just talked about TNA and their injury reports. Ray J confirming that Mark Davis is indeed injured. Hi, Jeff. So, yeah, we're on the next topic. So you haven't missed much. Everyone gone around the block and talked about Summer Blockbuster. So if you had a chance to watch Summer Blockbuster in any way, nope, got nothing to say. All right, well, never mind.
Well, I got one thing to say then. Okay, so with the TNT title, this is me. Regardless if Mark Davis is hurt or not, don't give it to Kyle Fletcher. Fletcher deserves more than that, the way they've been building him. Give that shit to Josh Alexander and call it a day. I mean, I'm sorry, but this Adam Cole thing is just not fucking working. And I love Adam. I love the dude. It's just not hitting. It's probably the one thing that right now that isn't hitting in AEW right now. One of the few, because they actually been doing pretty decent lately. This ain't it. Like, you got to give it to somebody that can actually make this title feel prestigious again. They tried with Cole, but I just give it to Josh.
So
honestly.
what you're saying is that the TNT title needs someone that can be like a workhorse champion who will be there,
yes,
to defend weekly and not have to worry about if they're going to get freaking injured so much like they're doing with Adam, like what the issue with Adam Cole is right now.
Yes, exactly that. Yes, yeah, and he could take it anywhere. I'll pass the buck off to Jeff, but like he could defend it on MLP. You can take it to New Japan. You know he'll work New Japan if you ask him to. He could go to GCW or something just out of a freaking whim. He could go to Deadlock Pro, defend it there. All these, he is a workhorse by nature,
yes.
Right? And he wanted to still be in the part of the indies. It's just the money wasn't viable. He's now in a company where the money is viable and he can still do exactly what he wants to do. So why not just give him the belt and have him do what he wanted to do any goddamn way?
Well, let's go ahead and get JJ's thoughts real quick. I recognized his hand. JJ, you got something to add during that before I maybe give my simple take to Summer Blockbuster and everything that's been discussed?
Oh, nice.
Every reason that James said that it should not go to Kyle Fletcher and should go to to Josh Alexander, I think is exactly why it needs to go to Kyle Fletcher.
Oh.
I think Kyle Fletcher getting that TNT title would do for him what Randy Orton's IC title run did back in 2004.
Yep.
Maybe.
Because no disrespect to Kyle, the main event world title scene is too bogged down.
Oh, yeah.
And even with the quote unquote secondary championship that they're turning the international and the continental title into, the unified championship or whatever they're calling it, that title scene is going to be too bogged down because whoever doesn't win between Okada and Omega, you know they're going to run it back at some point and turn it into a longer feud. And then the whole, oh, yay, the first match with Okada and Omega on American soil is going to turn into 15 matches with Okada and Omega on American soil. It's going to turn into Randy Orton and John Cena. You know, we're going to see it so many freaking times. Not that it's bad to see, but it's going to lose the luster the more we see it.
I really don't want to see it another 15
So
times.
that's why I think Fletcher as TNT champion would be perfect. Because it would be that tool to prime him for the world title once we move past the Moxleys, the Omegas, and those guys.
Yeah, and again, well said, by the way, James and JJ. Well, I will say this. As someone that literally looks at AEW more than any company on the Western Front since day one, I mean, I've seen the growth, evolution, the downfall, the downgrade, and the upswing, I would say definitely around this year, particularly for AEW. And it's been a beautiful thing to see. And again, I had an extremely fun time this past Wednesday versus Fighter Fest from a Wrestling Watch content. They really do have a lot of the storylines to get. I mean, let's just look at what we saw. We kicked off with Swerve Strickland versus Will Ospreay. It was 30 minutes, and we saw the story that was being told there through combat. And then the aftermath definitely told us a very unique tale when it came to Ospreay taking the bullet for Swerve Strickland and how much the Young Bucks and Death Riders, they may want to coexist, but obviously each man has their own itinerary. What John Moxley watched on, the Young Bucks basically exposed their plan with the Hangman on Collision, causing the Fed, and Heyman wanted nothing to do with it. And that's just the World Championship scene right now, where you got Hangman, Swerve, Ospreay, and John Moxley all at the forefront of the AEW World Championship, and the Ops and the Death Riders playing basically accomplices to that in their own feud. It looks like over the Trios titles, we saw the Ops come to Heyman's aid since Will Ospreay was incapacitated. And then you look at the Women's World Championship picture surrounding Mina Shirakawa, Toni Storm, Sky Blue, Julia Hart, Mercedes Moné, and of course it's Moné and Toni Storm at All In. But all these other pieces, they do make you figure about, okay, who else is going to be involved possibly towards this tower? What could this lead to? Maybe a tag team feud of violence. Speaking of tag teams, we're talking about maybe potentially a women's tag team division developing in AEW outside of TNA that's trying to finally get one with the women's tag team back. Thank Christ. We saw Tajay, of course, made their return against Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford, and Tajay got the win. Again, Megan Bayne, though, protected, not pinned in the decision. As far as the TV championships, yes, we're focusing on the Women's World Championships. So right now, we're not worried about the TBS title, but the TNT title, this idea of Kyle Fletcher, a young, bright up-and-comer, crafted in and being fine-tuned to be a bigger player in AEW, that TNT championship will add to his stock. Adam Cole doesn't need the TNT title right now. He was basically passed off as, I hate to say it, transitional. Daniel Garcia had his run with it, but beyond being a bit of a workhorse, it just wasn't necessarily giving Daniel Garcia or AEW what they wanted from it. That's why they took it off him. It's just a fact of life, unfortunately, when it comes to sometimes this piece and this piece just don't work. Kyle Fletcher, Adam Cole, this great feud. We saw what happened when they protected their first match to span it on with that DQ. A very rare thing to happen in AEW, might I add. I think Adam Cole and Kyle Fletcher makes sense, and this time I think Kyle Fletcher gets the TNT championship. What does that mean for the Paragon? I don't know. Maybe they finally go after the Trios titles and they become full-fledged heels, because I think Adam Cole and Disputed Era Kingdom are better as heels. than as faces. Again, that's just my personal opinion. I talked about already how much Thekla and Jamie Hayter, their sub-story right now where we haven't seen Jamie Hayter since she got blasted by the Toxic Spider, as of right now showing us not only her in-ring style, but her character. Again, Queen Amanana and Thekla, you all even said it was a better match than the main event because you all paid more attention to it. And while they're also building this CMLL, which let's call it what it is, CMLL and AEW, it's basically going to be their version of their own little Worlds Collide. It's a 2.5-hour special that we're going to get literally next week, Wednesday night from Arena, Mexico, and we're going to see what happens. The biggest story out of that show is right now MJF versus Mystico, which they built well on a battle of international pride when it comes to our American scumbag, our American hero trying to rip off the massive Mystico, which again, this gentleman and all of us cannot wait to see how that unfolds. It's more than about hurting people physically. It's hurting people emotionally with MJF added in to the Hurt Syndicate, which makes the Hurt Syndicate even more compelling. Outside the Death Rider storyline, the Hurt Syndicate, for me, is the most compelling story in AEW for the men. Women, jury's out, especially with Chris Statlander right now and Will Nightingale. Will they come back together as that bubbly tag team of power, potentially in this creating AEW Women's Tag Team Division? Remains to be seen. But if Statlander becomes a silent, dangerous, freaking mercenary for hire alongside Rhea Shafir, that could be a unique tag team dynamic because you don't know who could be with Willow, to your point, Ash. So again, like Ash was talking about, there are a lot of stories finally coming into a bit of a fruition now in AEW, what people have been clamoring for this whole time. And it seems like they really are getting a lot of great stuff put together, not just for All In, but possibly after that, because we know after that, we got the Forbidden Door. So I thoroughly enjoyed Summer Blockbuster for everything it basically brought. And I didn't even talk about the Omega and Okada contract signing segment that was so well executed. And I love this title, by the way. The Unified Championship, because they can't use Intercontinental. You can copyright a word, blah, blah, blah. What the fuck? Anyway, I'm going to leave that alone.
Wait.
And I'm going to give it to Jeff now, who did raise his hand. I gave
Yes,
my
he raised his hand for a while, yeah.
No, you're good. I don't mind waiting because I wanted to hear the points made in case I didn't have to make the point because, gee, I don't always have to talk despite the popular contract. First of all, regarding that title, is Intercontinental actually a trademark word? I don't think it is.
The issue, I looked into it. The only reason New Japan was able to get away with it is because they could have it in Japan. It wasn't trademarked by WWE in Japan, but it is in the US.
Okay, I would love to see the actual trademark for a word that is used, as far as I know, universally, not just a WWE word.
I think Intercontinental. I think it's specifically like Intercontinental title, Intercontinental Championship are the things that are specific.
Okay, I asked because there was a point made when JJ was talking about it basically turning into the whole thing we had with the NWA title and the WCW title, like the whole thing we had with the WWF title and the WCW/World title after Survivor Series 01. We've got 2 world championships. Like, do we need 2 world championships in a company that does not have separate brand identities, despite their attempt at collision before Punk decided to do this? Like, I don't see a need for 2 world championships. Having said that, what else do you call it if you can't call it Intercontinental? Like, unified works, but then when you have 2 people the level of Okada and Omega going to unify these 2 championships, it can't be perceived as anything but a next level world championship type title. So I guess that's a word we can use as unified, but when the inevitable happens, and we have Moxley and that champion go, or whoever is champion, a world champion, and go, it's like unified world champion. It's like Tony's booking for the Sickos. The problem is the booking is getting sick because of the way it's being worded. I'm not shitting on the company. Lord knows I do that enough on social media. But it just seems like there's a lot of unfinished cooking on the pot here as far as that particular championship.
Hey, listen, as long as we don't go back to the All Atlantic era, we're good.
To be fair, it was a weird name, but I mean, Pop again. He literally took that all over countries alongside the Atlantic Ocean. So at least
and the Pacific, which is the problem.
Yeah, well, no, and again, that championship, that name was going to be pivotal. That's why they immediately pivoted. Like, there's no way if you're going to have a championship that's only on the East Coast of the United States and the West Coast of Europe, that hinders things quite significantly.
Yeah.
As far as what?
I was gonna say, All Atlantic has the Japanese flag.
Right? Yeah. It's like World War II goes Pacific Theater, but okay, sure.
All right,
Anyway,
listen to geography lesson. Go ahead and continue, Jeff.
well, listen to geography lesson. I'm the wrong person because I have a baseball team that doesn't know where Anaheim or LA are. Anyway,
That's a different conversation.
Anyway, as far as the women's division, I mentioned as far as the world title picture. How awesome is it that people were circling the drain as far as the women's division is going to die. Mariah left on purpose. She made her choice, and man, it's like we're okay. I love it. I love that for AEW. I love it for AEW fans. And again, I don't consider myself an AEW fan. They haven't brought me back in enough yet, but I'm happy for the AEW fans to respect that company that have not abandoned ship like I did, because that women's division had every opportunity to just because the story of Mariah and Tony was just everything over the last year plus. But there's enough talent in that roster to go, we're okay. We're not going to be great again for a while, but we're going to be okay with that Mariah and the story. And that's wonderful for the true fans, and I'm happy for that.
Oh, there you go. All right, JJ, I see your hand was up, so please go ahead and add towards anything that was said to everybody else before we go into our first page and close the credits on that was Summer Blockbuster. Go ahead.
Something to Jeff's point that I've seen a few different people on the internet say, so take it with a grain of salt by all accounts, but they're saying that the biggest problem that they have with a secondary champion is the fact that it just means that Hangman isn't going to win it all in. And we're stuck with this Death Riders thing for even longer. It's kind of like Roman Reigns as the undisputed champion, and we needed a second championship because nobody was fucking beating Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of unifying these titles at All In, creating a secondary championship if Hangman is going to end the Death Riders? And we're finally going to get the belt out of the briefcase.
You're the one
but we're doing the unification. It leads to believe that Hangman is going to lose. And what I've been saying forever is going to come to fruition, and it's going to be Darby. It's going to be Wrestle Dream. It's going to be Washington. It's going to be where Darby was supposed to win it last year, but Moxley beat Bryan after taking Darby's opportunity.
Full circle, our long-term storytelling, as you love to so eloquently say. Tony Khan hired the man.
It sucks that we have to deal with the Death Riders for 4 more months, but it's not like they don't have, written in opponents.
Exactly.
Hangman at Texas, obviously. Then we go to London. Gee, Ospreay, anybody?
Yeah, probably.
Then we go to Toronto. Gee, who do they have under their roster that's Canadian?
I think I know him.
Fucking buddy. Well, we think we know him, but I'm almost willing to bet that this match in Canada is going to be the ENC reunion versus FTR. But that still leaves Omega. And if TK wants to put him on a PLE proper, despite what everybody's been saying about him this year, there's Jericho.
Oh, no.
If it's just a sacrifice to get us to Wrestle Dream, James, then why does it matter? Mox defeated Jericho for his first title run, didn't he?
I was just about to say that, yeah.
So here's Jericho to try to take it back from Mox all these years later. Again, it's full circle. It's long-term storytelling. You can groan at Jericho all you want, but if he's eating the L anyways, why the fuck does it matter?
It doesn't.
He's a Canadian, getting a title shot in Canada,
Upset.
And this is the part where Ash starts talking and her head starts flapping South Park style. As Jeff has his hand up to be recognized again.
I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot.
Jeff, go ahead and speak. Ash, I saw you again earlier. You can speak after Jeff, and then we'll close the book on this. Jeff, go ahead.
I had a thought when we were talking about Moxley losing the title to Hangman. What if Hangman beats him with the belt time in the briefcase? And that's how they prolong the story.
Possibly. We don't even know if the belt's even in that briefcase.
I legitimately thought the same shit. Yeah.
It's a reach and a half, and I understand that, but why the mystique of the briefcase if we don't get a big plot twist with it being involved once he actually does lose the title? If he loses the title, he just hands it over so we had the briefcase because we wanted to keep it shiny and pretty and out of direct light. No, it's a bait and switch.
If what you're saying is true, Jeff, to respond to that, then Shane McMahon has to be coming in.
Oh,
there's no other way that story makes sense. I can't think.
Only the Sith wheels and absolutes, and we're not in the galaxy far away. That's way on the other side of the park.
No, but what you're saying is true. I could see them doing it, but the only way they could do it is if Shane's coming in.
Well, it doesn't have to only be Shane McMahon because if Shane McMahon is involved, there's a slight chance that the old man's involved. I don't want to entertain anywhere near that idea.
I don't either. But
there are multiple ways they can get the briefcase not having the title involved and not involve somebody last name McMahon.
I guess so. Point is, it doesn't have to be McMahon, but it has to be somebody that has stake in the company and now they own it.
It has to be somebody that we are completely not even thinking about or respecting. That's the key.
Exactly. And again, as far as what's the main event at all, and to JJ and Jeff's point, between the Unified Championship match, the AEW World Championship, it's completely up in the air right now, considering which one you look at as the bigger and the less obvious. Again, Walter right now, he's pushing for Okada. I think it's going to be a mega. Again, we'll see to predict that soon enough. And right now, there's swayed comments, it feels like, when it comes to him and Page winning this match for the championship versus losing and not getting the championship at all. Because again, it's not about necessarily winning the match. It's about bringing back home the title. That's the story. So that's really the story we're waiting to see play out. Whether or not it plays out all in or Wrestle Dream and JJ's long-term storytelling completely remains to be seen. Ash, I saw your hand. Yes, Jeff?
I'm sorry. I couldn't ask off. I'm sorry. I'm never here, and I'm not being an asshole. I apologize. Irony of ironies. Right now, in this context of the storylines, both CM Punk and Hangman Adam Page are challenging the champion to save the title from the evil champion.
What the fuck is going on?
They're trying to save wrestling from the bad, horrible champion. Hangman and Punk have the same cause. Good night, everybody. The world is ending.
Wait, hold on. I'll do you one better, Jeff. They're both trying to save the companies from the awful man named Gian. Sorry.
And one's going to Saudi Arabia, and the other one's doing it in America. So again, that's a whole different conversation. All right.
Yeah, Punk's the hypocrisy.
And you know what, Jeff? I'm pretty sure that should be the word of the night, even though we're not talking about my brisket conglomeration, but accurate. No, hypocrisy. Anyway, what do I know? Let's go ahead.
I thought the word of the night was something.
Fuck off. It's every night. It's every night. It's every night. This stupid fucking word.
When an armored truck pulls up to your driveway, you'll be a hypocrite too.
Well, this is true.
I mean, it's money, not ISIS. But again, what do I know? Anyway, let's go ahead and move on now. Don't get me started.
I live in the zone. Please don't bring that up, no.
I just wanted to say, add to the international championship going back to the international championship talk. I was at that show when they changed the name.
Yes, you were. When they leveled up against Double J, Jeff Jarrett, Big G's #1 wrestler. Of course,
wee woo, wee woo.
I want to know what the crazy thing about that show was?
What?
You think I'd pop the loudest for Omega? No, I popped the loudest for Orange Cassidy.
I'm not surprised. Got to get the people what they want. Anyway, Orange Cassidy, of course.
I miss Orange. I can't wait for him to come back on AEW Dynamite.
Yeah, he big time injured. He's required surgery, bruv.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, but I just can't wait until I hear Jane hit, and I'm going to fucking mark out like a motherfucker and scream at the top of my lungs.
Where's my mind? You know, whatever happens first.
I like Where's My Mind better.
Where's My Mind? Well, I mean, again,
it's such a lazily put together song that I feel like it just fits him way better.
It does. It does. Both theme works for him, though. That's the cool part. Like, both work really well for him.
And it's like two different personality aspects of a guy that literally sometimes just doesn't give a fuck more than Tony Schiavone or me for that matter. So it works. And this is accurate. He was Mr. TNT. So unless you find somebody like him that's a workhorse or somebody with the pedigree that made this title pristine like Miro, you need to figure out this TNT championship with someone not named Kyle Fletcher. And I think Kyle Fletcher right now is your best candidate.
Yeah, and I want to point out something, how crazy it was, how like going back to it, it is okay. And this is gonna be like my little New Japan talk here for a second, but It is so wild how Orange Cassidy's international championship reign was booked the same way as Zack Sabre Jr.'s New Japan World TV title reign was.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Those two names should not be in the same sentence.
James, they face each other.
I just said how that they were booked the same. Not that they wrestled the same.
I know.
The same.
Workhorses that went the
the
distance.
same.
Yeah, again, workhorses that were the distance. That being said, the closing
One
credits.
lazy comparison.
One does lazy kicks, and the other one is a technical marvel.
James, I'm just saying. Zack Sabre Jr.
Talking to James?
I know.
Again, I just want to put this out there. Zack Sabre Jr. wanted to wrestle freaking Orange Cassidy last year, and he did at Forbidden Door, and Zack Sabre Jr. won. That's it. That's all. Simple as that.
Carry on as you will, Noah.
They were bickering like a man.
I'm not. Hey, I ain't married. I ain't married. I ain't looking to get married.
Are you sure about that? You and Ashley have worked pretty well together when it comes to causing chaos and freaking going up against one another.
This is very Shenanigans, though, not the Love Connection.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're trying to set me up with that. What's going on?
Hey, to be fair, Noah is a good show host, so you know he can host.
It's the
Love
tism
Connection.
and the ADHD.
And apparently this is Love Connection. I'm Chuck Woolery. Fuck me. All right. Well, that being said, moving on. Bottom line, closing the curtain on Summer Blockbuster. I rated it fresh as far as Rotten Tomatoes go, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Well, that being said, great conversation as we reach the halfway point of our topic. So we are going to take a brief commercial break and show you guys what's ahead here at the Simply Liable Studios outside of Shenanigans in this watch-along trailer. So after these 90 seconds, we'll be back.
And now for a taste of things to come.
always, here at the Super Level Studio, if you don't know it by now, we truly celebrate, embrace, encompass, cover, react, criticize, and look into all the wrestling. And welcome back once again to the Shenanigans, where I have been put in the proverbial moderated hot seat. Of course, here with Ash, James, and the row of fathers, the three wise men at the bottom, Jeff, JJ, and Walter. As we bring you in on this Father's Day weekend, too. Okay, so resuming our discussions here, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. Tag teams and tag team names. James, something you're very familiar with and you're still getting annoyed by to this day. Does a team need a name? Do you have good names or bad names? Do you come up with names better than an AI generator or chat DBT? Can you come up with a better name than Protoshita, Konosuke Takeshita, and Kyle Fletcher, the Protostar and the Alpha? That is kind of the extent of what they're calling their tag team.
They couldn't just call them the Nebula.
I got nothing. That being said,
Bad booking later.
Being said, James, since you freaking gave your own name already, please feel free to try and book a better name for this team. Do you think these two actually need a name for their team?
Yes.
And what do you think of their current name? Go ahead. We'll start with you.
Yes, their current name is awful and no creative bone in their body. The Nebula. One's Alpha. You can call them an Alpha Star. The other one's the Protostar. Nebula. There you go.
Better than the Conglomerate. That was a horrible name, too.
Hey, listen. Don't you dare disrespect the conglomeration. The conglomeration will forever be a goddamn gem. That will be in Webster's dictionary. You give that name some goddamn respect.
Look. Protoshita is probably the worst fucking thing I've ever heard in my goddamn life.
Proto what?
Protoshita.
Protoshita.
Look at the way it's spelled, James. You know there's some sarcastic.
They spelled this Protoshita. You're
Protoshita. It's Protoshita. Yes, that is their name.
It still sounds like shitta, Noah.
For a sarcastic fuck like myself, it looks like Protoshita.
Oh my god, dude, that's awful. I'm cringing. That's how bad it is.
Yeah,
okay.
it's really sad how people like jokingly refer to Takeshita as Takeshita because of the way his name is spelled. So
yeah, and Ash, this proves my point that America thinks on a 6th grade level when it comes to a dictionary.
So here's my thing. Here's my thing. It sounds lame, but if you're gonna do the hybrid of their names, trying to do the whole Benifer type of shit.
Mm-hmm.
To James's point, he's the Alpha, he's the Protostar, the Alpha Stars.
You could.
It doesn't sound near as bad as Protoshita.
Protoshita.
Man,
I'm just gonna say Protoshita just to see if people actually believe that's how it's supposed to be said. Continue, JJ.
Bro, it's still like no matter how you say it, Noah, it does still sound like shit. Like it's just no other way around.
I know.
I'm
just trying to literally add some sort of name reference to it. Besides that, Protoshita. Try to turn it into one long word.
Why do we need a name for them? Why can't we just call them the Don Callis family?
Yes.
Yeah, this is true.
Unless Archer and Cage being the lesser of everybody. Well, yeah, because see, they're the Murder Hawk monsters.
Yeah,
whatever.
So
Murder Machine, yeah. So it's like they're not even the Don Callis family anymore. I was like, if they're gonna be the ones to be labeled as the Callis family because they're obviously the weaker links, if you will, in the stable. Okay, then you got to give them a name, but. Protoshita, Come on.
Protoshita. That's what it is. It's Protoshita, but it looks like Protoshita.
You just take away the I and just call it Protoshita?
That's what it is.
No.
It's like it's still stupid, but at least it's not shitta.
Not every team
French
needs it.
What are we doing here? We're watching French bread wrestle? Like, what the shit?
Like,
Yes,
I legitimately
Protoshita.
saw the graphic for next week, and I saw the name written on the graphic.
Yep.
Because they're part of a 10-man or a 12-man or whatever, and it's written just like that.
Yep.
And I swear to God, I sat here in my room, and I turned into Beavis and Butthead. I was like, yeah, Protoshita. Yeah, that's fucking cool.
Those hip laughs.
It sounds like
like seriously, like that. And the fact that we have Beavis and Butthead in our intro is by
Makes
no
it even
coincidence, but like,
Oh, I'm sure it's not.
but you look at it and it's like Protoshita.
Protoshita.
What do you want to?
You can keep correcting it, Noah, and I can say it
Protoshita.
correctly too, Protoshita, or even Protoshita, because his name is
Protoshita. It's Protoshita.
So
Which
Protoshita, like
we graduated
whatever,
from we graduated to Jeff's point from taking a shit to fucking French bread. So I mean,
but
we
for
lost
me,
the plot here.
who's a sarcastic fuck, I see it and I see Protoshita. Or even for Ash, since she's Canadian, Protoshit, eh?
Oh my god!
I'm only gonna call it Protoshita, man.
Because it's funny now.
And you saw the way Ash covered her mouth with the tee again, like, damn it, JJ.
Yeah, that's right.
Not every team needs names, especially when it's two random people. If you were introduced to the industry as a team, then yeah, you can get a name. But when you just randomly combine two people, like, no, that's like when Shawn Michaels and John Cena became tag champions just there in 2007 or whatever it was. They didn't need a name. They were just randomly together for a little bit.
Yep.
Not everybody needs names. Seth's group doesn't have a name. Although I would say, now that Private Party might have interest from WWE, you need to change their name to Public Event. Just for the shit of it. Just the complete opposite of a Private Party. Call them the Public Event.
Believe it or not,
So the shit is the proto shit ever.
Protoshita or the proto? Exactly, Jeff. I did actually have a tag team name for Shawn Michaels and John Cena, and I called it the DXCG, which is the DX Gang Gang. So there is this name drives my tism nuts.
Protoshita. Protoshita. What you got to say about it? He muted.
Which one, Jeff?
Oh, me? I'm sorry. I'm literally going through Tomorrowland. I can't hear anything but Chippendale singing. I'm scared for my life. Anyway, I honestly, I tend to agree with Walter in that if you come into the industry or you debut a team as a team, then yeah, names are important. But the classic phrase, "What's in the name? What's my line?" I don't necessarily think it's uber important. Especially a team, JJ makes a valid point too. They are two sub-facets, if you will, of the Don Callis family. So, calling it the Callis family may sound lazy to some, but, if they want to give each team their own identity, which, again, I don't necessarily see the need for it, only because I don't think they're going to be a team long-term going forward. I'm sorry. I'm all turned around here. We got parade traffic occurring. I apologize. JJ would know what I'm talking about. You're steering me around the Matterhorn trying to avoid paint the night, Jay. It's driving me nuts.
All I'm gonna say is I love that we fucking have this goddamn name just scrolling across the ticker with a question mark.
I know. We got a new joke now because JJ's famous for cut the commercial because we got to take a Liaki. Now we can say we got to take a Protoshita.
Protoshita.
So if it's a protoshita, does that mean it's like a prototype, like it's a unique one, or is it like caveman where it's like proto man where it's like ancient shit?
No, it's a professional shit.
It's a This is the type of shit that happens. This is the type of shit that happens after a Taco Bell at 2 a.m.
There's the proof.
No, that's a mega shit.
Guys,
There's
look at
the
the graphic.
proof. Look under
Look at the
Hechicero.
graphic. Right hand side.
Protoshita.
Protoshita.
I quit life on this graphic. I just do.
You would think they would put a dash or something just so people don't think of it.
Here's the problem. It don't matter because it still sounds the same, and nobody's gonna see it any other way. Hyphen be damned. You're taking a professional shit. It's what it is.
I think if you hyphened it, it would just be worse because the hyphen would go between proto and Shida.
It would literally amplify it like a megaphone, bro.
From now on, we can't call a match a bathroom break. We'll have to say this match is the Protoshita match.
Yeah. No, okay. Again, there's so many. If you're gonna name your teams in the Don Callis family as an example, there's ways to do it. Okay, and Konosuke is the alpha stars, like JJ said, or the Nebula. There you go. Right. If you're gonna team Josh Alexander and Kyle Fletcher together, here's one for you: North Star. Makes sense.
I like that.
One's from the north, and one's a star, and there's a North Star. Get it? There you go.
The North is also the
All the
longest
North
reigning
Star.
TNA. Yeah, the North is also the longest reigning TNA World Tag Team Champions in TNA history. Of course, all Ethan Page and Josh Alexander. But that being said, Ash, Protoshita, what you guys say?
We were praising their creative, and then they go and do this shit. Like, why?
Simon Miller.
This proto shit, Ash. This proto shit.
Here's why. Yeah, Protoshita.
It's like they really can't think of anything better. Like, we just came up with better tag names for them in this panel right now. Any one of them is better than what they have currently, and it's anger-inducing that, no, this is what they're legit called. I was going to ask, is this a working title? But no, that's their team name.
I wonder, though, who, I know he's... Did Don Callis just make this happen? Like, because again, it's the Don Callis family, right? He's got, so much creative control, I guess, with Protoshita.
He took a mean shit after a 2 a.m. Taco Bell run and came up with this name.
I think Don Callis is too damn skinny to eat Taco Bell, James, honestly. Probably doesn't even
To James's point, the fact that this is on the graphic for Grand Slam Mexico, they ran for the border.
Protoshita.
Just break them into 3 teams and call them Alpha, Beta, and Gamma, and just use that.
Still is a theme.
Yeah, that's good.
ABG. Anyway,
Alpha, Beta, and
in conclusion, Protoshita. All right. That's your word of the night. Let's go ahead and move on to our fuck me. Let's go.
Somebody super chat and make Noah say Protoshita.
It's Protoshita. I think it's Protoshita. It sounds like a French red.
It sounds pretentious when you say it like that.
I'm pretentious for Protoshita. I'm out of control.
Oh my god!
Is that something found at the Boudin Bakery, Jeff?
See,
something found in the toilet of a bakery.
Oh my God, Walter!
That bakery is in DCA, by the way, for those of y'all at home that don't know. That's why I asked the Disney cast member.
I only can't. Dude, I ain't gonna make it across. Otherwise, I totally do a live in right there from it. Anyway.
There you go.
Anyway, damn it, Walter, you freaking idiot! Oh my god!
Not me this time.
Don't count your chickens before they hatch, you freaking fool.
The night is still young,
everybody.
The night is still young.
You can't hatch eggs; they're being tariffed.
Oh yeah. Anyway, Protoshita. All right, let's move on.
I say tariff and there's crickets. Gee, what a surprise! No political talk. Got it. Okay.
This is the new something. Is fucking Protoshita.
No, there will always be something. So the superseding that, James.
Something will always take over Protoshita as long as you live and breathe.
I disagree. You keep saying that word, and I'll take a Protoshita right now.
No, No, that's something we can discuss later.
Dang! God bless it. Oh my God.
Too many gimmicks. Too many gimmicks.
Too many gimmicks for one night. And why am I in the hot seat for once? Don't know. This is my life.
All right, go to the next topic. Sorry.
Yes, the last topic. There's been enough Protoshita talk. Let's go ahead and move into our main event. Now, I know we're not going to put some respect on this tag team name, Protoshita, but we are going to put some respect on one person's name, and that is the former R-Truth who became Ron Killings, and that's what's up. We, of course, saw last night what the Truth feel like, and the Truth hurts, don't it? Hello, Indy Hartwell. Good move, by the way. And that being said, Ron Killings right now talking about we're going to put some respect on his name, former NWA World Champion. We talked a little bit about this on the Notiki review, so I don't need to really say a whole lot more about this. So let's go ahead and get Mr. Giddy's opinion here first, since he was so excited and he just couldn't hide it. And then we'll just go around the horn here with Ash, Jeff, Walter Cruz, and JJ. James, go ahead. Your thoughts on R-Truth becoming Ron Killings and the fact, spoiler alert for those that didn't watch SmackDown, beep, 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 beep. Ron Killings is facing John Cena next week on SmackDown. James, your thoughts on Ron Killings in WWE?
I'm very happy with Ron Killings back in WWE, and I'm very happy that he's Ron Killings, and we get Ron the Truth Killings in WWE from his TNA days. I'm so happy that he gets, if this is his last swan song, I'm so glad he gets to go out as Ron the Truth Killings. You have no idea how happy that makes me. And Jeff knows, JJ knows, kind of. If you are a TNA fan, you remember the Truth and how over he was as NWA World Champion, how over he was even after that run, which was very short and brief, unfortunately. He was...
Both runs were.
Yeah, exactly. He is now back to that, and I'm just happy for him because, you know, I feel like he's been this comedy R-Truth for so goddamn long.
Since 2008.
Yeah, and now it's like, I mean, well, it's in 2011 more so, because that was when the whole Little Jimmy stuff started.
So comedy before that. That's just when his comedy peaked for a moment, and then the 24/7 title came.
Yeah, but it was like an but that's the thing. It was an aspect to him at the time, like when he first debuted. It wasn't like his whole.
He was a heel at the time. He did the Little Jimmy stuff in 2011. He was a full-on heel going against Cena.
Exactly true. Exactly true. So I think. Yeah, I think that's nothing but the truth. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I think he's going to do fucking amazing with this. I think he's going to really show out. I think they're going to make him regret even trying to let him go. I think he's going to prove why he should have been treated a lot more serious. Even if it's only for a year, if they extended it for that long, I hope he just gets his swan song at the end of the day. One that like is fitting of all this guy's contributions to the industry. I'm just so stoked for him that he gets to kind of end his career on his fucking terms, which is funny because it's coming off the heels of somebody else retiring as well.
I mean, I did put it out there on the review. Imagine if both men retired at the same time. I'm just saying. But then again, we're getting Ron Killings. Keyword, Ron Killings versus John Cena next week on SmackDown. And whether or not that leads towards a championship opportunity for Ron Killings, where R-Truth fell short of size main event, a whole different conversation. Ash went to go do some. Oh, there we go. So that being said, Ash, most viewed clip in a long time, by the way. Most viewed clip, probably the most viral moment this week in WWE, being perfectly honest here. I can't remember the last time someone reacted to a haircut not in New Japan. Hello, Shildumino. What's your thoughts on Ron Killings in WWE? This original persona of the man that we've come to know as R-Truth, for those that don't know his entire practical WWE career. What do you think of this?
As much as I like comedic R-Truth, this is a nice change of pace and character for R-Truth, especially for those like me who didn't get to see the serious side of R-Truth because I didn't watch WWE at the time, or I didn't watch TNA at the time. So this is going to be a whole new experience for me, seeing a different side of R-Truth. and I'm looking forward to see what they do with it. Because as much as I love goofy R-Truth, I want to see super serious R-Truth as well.
Same. All right. Simply put. Okay. Jeff, what's up? Jeff, what do you think about Ron Killings in WWE now? And he's taking on John Cena. Don't make you choose, right?
Well, okay, so look, like I've known Ronnie for almost my entire podcasting career, so almost 23 years. I love Ron. I've loved him from the beginning. He was one of the guys that really kind of just gave us carte blanche to talk with him. We were talking about TNA. Went to Turning Point 04. 3 Live 2 dropped the NWA tag titles back to Team Canada that night, as some of you may remember. Over 20 years ago. It's so crazy to me that I was at that show and then I was at the Billion this year. My mind is eternally by that. Anyway, it's just wild to me that Truth is still wrestling and I'm still podcasting. My brain just goes, so I am so happy for him. I can't tell you. And yes, it's hard for me because John's been my friend a long time too. So it's definitely a mixed bag for me, but I'm happy, as James, put it, I'm happy championship match as television. This isn't like a PLE that you have to subscribe to Peacock for, or this is on SmackDown, and I think that's wonderful. I'm happy for the guy, and I look forward to SmackDown next week, especially since I'm off. Actually, I'll be here next Friday night with the kiddo. But first time he and I have gone this year together to Disney. But anyway, I look forward to catching it because I will watch that match in full more often. Again, very hard to not love being a wrestler. JJ, just for a point of reference, as turned my mute back on to ride through the next person talking before I just started now. The Fantastic Finale was playing. I got to see person to do this thing.
Fair enough. Hey, Walter, what's up? So, Walter, Ron Killings, WWE. I mean, it is kind of wild to think that, again, he's facing John Cena. It's Ron Killings with John Cena for the first time ever. Serious R-Truth, as of course people call it. And it is just right on SmackDown. But we also know this is coming off the heels of CM Punk, once again, pipe bombing John Cena here in America just this past Friday night, telling him how the truth hurts. But that being said, also, we know we got CM Punk versus John Cena for the Undisputed WWE Championship in Saudi Arabia, June 28th, in case people don't know the date. So what do you think about this? And do you see this having implications on the match at Night of Champions? Does CM Punk maybe show up and come to Ron Killings because John Cena is going to go street on him? Or is Ron Killings going to be on site against the 17-time world champion? Could we see an upset? I don't know necessarily if it's for the title. I think it should be, personally. But I haven't seen the official, banner or graphic. But what do you think of Ron Killings in WWE versus John Cena?
The truth of the matter is, no, I'm kidding. I'm consensus is everybody else. I'm so happy for him. I think Punk probably cost Cena that match. I would love, because I think Truth can afford this. I would love if he ends up winning like that, earns a future title shot, wins the title at SummerSlam, and Seth cashes in on him. He only needs like a 5-minute title run. He can afford that. And I feel like just to say he's been the WWE champ, you can do that. And then Seth will ruin it, especially because Seth is supposed to be this mega ultra heel, and people still going, whoa, to his music. So he does that shit. Everybody will hate the living hell out of him, and he'll be the mega heel that they want him to. That's how you flip the switch to get nobody to cheer for him, because Seth is still being cheered, even though he's in this group and supposed to be hated. If you watch him come out, he still gets cheered, and then when he speaks, he kind of gets booed. But because of his music and all that, he's still getting cheered. The ultimate way to do that is to ruin Truth's moment like that. So I feel like that's what they should do at SummerSlam.
And
Huh? Oh. But yeah. I'm so happy for him, and I was watching TNA when that happened. He freaking beat Ken Shamrock for that, and to have that serious run, and I love that for him. So I'm happy. He has one of the best, coolest looking haircuts too. Now, like I said it before. I said he needs to let the dreads go. I called it like weeks before that. I said, "Man, you're balding. Let it go." And look, he did it. So I kind of called it before it happened.
Minoru Suzuki levels of cutting his hair too. Like
That's accurate.
that was awesome. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm happy for him, and hopefully that it does lead to something like that. I don't think it's going to be for the title Friday, and I think Punk has a lot to do with it. Just to stick it to Cena, he's going to somehow cost him that match.
Well, I mean, again, John Cena has not been pinned or submitted in a singles action. So it's just one of those things right now where I think we are going to get Ron Killings versus John Cena for the WWE Championship at the 2-night SummerSlam. I'm calling it right now. A fair point. Let's see here. I'm just checking the chat. Okay. That being said, JJ, Ron Killings, WWE run. Is it for a short haul like John Cena, as long as John Cena, if not shorter? Is it just a cup of coffee, or are they truly giving back what R-Truth basically gave the business since 2008 as a thank you? What do you think of this?
I like the fact that he's going to be more serious. I don't know how long it's going to last. That's my question. You know, once Cena rides off into the sunset, will Ron Killings revert back to R-Truth? Or will he continue on with the serious Ron Killings? I feel that's the $1 million question, because storyline wise, Cena is what brought the serious side out of him. We all know the truth, and we're all grown-ups. We can handle the truth. But I feel like there's more money to be made in comical truth than there is serious truth. That's my concern. I agree to a certain extent about what Walter said, but I don't think it's going to be truth that Seth cashes in on. I think it's going to be the King of the Ring winner, which at this point I'm predicting is going to be Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
That's fair, because also the guys you talked about, the Night of Champions winner will challenge for the championship at SummerSlam, most likely.
And the Night of Champions winner will be crowned in Saudi, where he has, you know, the religious ties now that he's able to go over there. So I could definitely see, I basically see the Daniel Bryan story coming for Sami Zayn. Sami wins the title at SummerSlam, like Bryan did. Seth cashes in on him, like Orton did. Then the next time we go to Saudi, it's the Rumble. Sami wins the Rumble, challenges for the title at Mania 42, and wins it.
It's a fair story. It's a fair take. And yeah, I definitely think the biggest unknown of intrigue is how long the WWE Universe is going to have Ron Killings. And not necessarily who he's in the ring with, and also not necessarily who he assaults, but how long are we going to be basically engaged by Ron Killings? Again, does it go as long as John Cena? Is it just for a season? Is it only against John Cena at this point? Because to your point, that's the only reason Ron Killings was brought back into existence. So it's definitely intrigued. And as far as Night Champions go and the cause and effect into SummerSlam, where Seth and Rollins' vision might come back to fruition, he's the World Heavyweight Champion or the Undisputed WWE Champion again, or he's screwed courtesy of enemies of his past, including one person we haven't acknowledged since he got dropped the Raw to WrestleMania with a curb stomp. That remains to be seen. But I will say this. I'm definitely intrigued now to see Ron Killings mix it up in WWE. And again, John Cena, first target. CM Punk, if he gets out of line, will he assault CM Punk? Will he go from there and go after Seth freaking Rollins and get involved in his business? Again, put some respect on his name. Respect the man's game. So, again, I'm curious to see how far this goes and how long this does connect the WWE Universe. Again, I have not heard or seen, and the numbers don't lie, apparently, a reaction to somebody like that a long time in WWE who was literally gone for, less than 24 hours? Work, not work, as we talked about last week. Still up in the freaking air, but WWE had no problem marketing Ron Killings as soon as he came onto the screen. He's got his own shirt, and I'm sure it's selling at hotcakes on WWEshop.com. But yeah, and again, I definitely think Ron Killings, John Cena, it's not going to be the only time you see those two men in the same frame, let alone the same graphic in some capacity, I think, after next week, Friday night. But we will definitely wait and see. That being said, before we segue to our commercial break and give you guys control, we did get a super chat earlier, and that's why I didn't acknowledge it until now. But thank you, of course, as always, to one of our favorites, the Dominguez. He gave us a $5 super chat saying, "Why didn't fans cheer and hijack for only R-Truth and not Dakota and etc. who got at least?" Fickle, I'm telling you, complaining all the time. Well, how many people here on this panel says the worst thing about wrestling is the fans? I'm just saying. That being said, I think there's a longer term connection and memorable moments with R-Truth than Dakota Kai, unfortunately, who was injured more times than R-Truth held his first 5 24/7 championships.
It's because no one's more beloved than Truth backstage by the crew, by the employees themselves. So, and plus he was recently involved in major storylines before his contract was going to expire. It literally made no sense and came out of left field. He's beloved by everyone. Like, he's a national treasure. We've been saying that for years. So you can't compare Dakota Kai and everyone else that was released to him.
Yeah. I mean, again, the reaction was truly something. Shout out to DJ of Rock and Ropes. JJ, I saw your hand. You want to speak on this super chat?
Walter kind of made my point, and it comes down to how beloved he is. It's the equivalent of if they were to release Natalya from the women's division.
Oh, that'd be a crime.
You talk about someone who's long tenured, been with the company forever, done anything and everything that they've been asked to do. Put over damn near everybody over themselves more often than not. Got very little to show for it at the end of the day, and then you release them.
You only get a 20.
And I get it's business. I get that internally his name was on the chopping block for a while this year. And that's why they did what they did, because Cena wanted to do that for him. But that's why the fans reacted the way they did. To Walter's point, Dakota Kai, the people from NXT, Katana Chance, Caden Carter,
Shayna Baszler.
Yeah, even Shayna. Fans just didn't have the connection to those people. Shayna would come out to fucking crickets. The last time she got any reaction was when she beat Ronda Rousey, and they did nothing with it.
Nope.
Nothing. They did nothing with it. That was their opportunity to do what they had done in NXT with her, because she had literally beaten the baddest woman on the planet.
In an MMA rules match of all things.
At SummerSlam, the second biggest show of the year.
I saw that live.
And they did nothing.
And it was crickets. All right, Jiminy, go ahead and speak on the super chat if you want, furthering the whole idea of the fickle wrestling universe that we live in and are a part of. You want to add anything?
Wait, there's a super. Wait, we got a super chat on that.
James, for the love of people, you pay attention.
Well, I knew we were talking about it. I just didn't know. It was super
His
chat.
tism.
My tism. My tired is activating the tism, and my tism.
His brain took a Protoshita.
Protoshita.
Protoshita. I'm all for a Protoshita.
A drink every time.
Protoshita.
Take a drink every time.
I'm pro for Protoshita. Anyway,
Focus, you freaking goober.
Why didn't fans cheer and hijack? I mean, yeah, exactly. It's just exactly what JJ was saying. It's like they didn't have the connection to everybody else. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. You know, you also got to keep in mind that Truth has years of fans, like throughout the years of being in WWE. Like he has, I think, about a decade in that company. Or something like that. Decade and a half in that company.
Something!
Fuck. It's too late for this.
Yeah. It's more than a decade, dude.
Yeah. Okay, so, what were you saying?
Ron rejoined the company the same year Dylan was born. Dylan just turned 17. And that was after serving a few years before that, before TNA. So, all told, he's got 20 years in WWE alone.
Dude, that's so crazy.
And still looks young.
Yeah, he does.
Well, back on track, and apparently it doesn't age either. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, man. He just has years of experience. Nobody else did. Obviously, we did because you all heard what we were saying, right? Like, but it just came down to the fact that they just didn't have a use for them or didn't feel like they had a use for them. And the fans were like, well, they, take them or leave them. The majority of them did. R-Truth is a whole different animal. Just in general, man. That's just what it is. In general, Truth has years of being R-Truth. And the fans have been exposed to that. And so when you take that away from them, they were in more of an uproar because it's like, no, we like the funny man. Keep the funny man. And so they had to bring back the funny man. Now he's serious, man. It's like, oh, we get something new. Yay. Better for our funny man. And now everybody happy, but there was just nothing else for anybody else. And there wasn't like a decade and a half of, shit that Truth has been a part of, 17 years, I think he's been a part of that company, at least in this go around. If you don't count the Attitude Era and that short stint there.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Legitimate. JJ said it. He was literally asked to do some crazy stuff, and he did it with no problem. Like Natalia, I love that. I love that comparison. I mean, she literally went from like a farting character to what she is now, and it's still a crime that she wasn't the first Intercontinental Champion.
It's a crime that they made her fart, okay?
You know what's so wrong? We're not really the IC title. Made it do the thing with ECW and with AEW.
Right, that's fair. That's fair. Also, I just barely made that out, Jeff. It is like loud over there.
Yeah, he's got a lot of background noise. It's all good though. But I got again, fickle. We're all fickle. Everyone's fickle. No one here is not fickle. Even I've been guilty of that at times. But I think pretty much the compelling point is when you build that connection, it means something, and it matters that much to those people that followed your career for as long as they have. Especially it's been the only thing they know about maybe your career. So. What do you want to say regarding this? And do you have anything further to add regarding anyone else's points?
Yeah, it's sad, like how like other people who are released, they didn't really have an opportunity to connect with the fans, whether it through bad booking, creative, the injury bug, and a bunch of other misfortunate circumstances that were beyond their control. Whereas R-Truth, on the other hand, because he was there for like a long period of time and he was booked the way he was, and also him as a performer making the best out of what he was given, was able to create that connection, the others unfortunately weren't able to do so. To no fault of their own as well, because you can only do so much with what you're given and based on your abilities and talents.
Well, it's also one of those things where at the end of the day, all you want maybe is an opportunity. Andrade El Idolo asked about that. Killer Cross, preached and literally crashed the podcast. Work or shoot, you tell me, has also talked about that. So it's another thing to actually be given the opportunity. It's another thing to either force the opportunity or create it yourself. And I think to Ron Killings on Truth longevity, I think a lot of those opportunities he made his own, and the WWE just rode with it because at the end of the day, it was comedy gold. Comedy sells more than competition, especially in WWE. It's kind of at the forefront of this company's existence. We're being perfectly honest here. So, yeah, but it is sad because, look, I can react to a character all I want. You got The Fridge, you got Flop Dollar. Don't get me started on that TNA trilogy. That really drove my blood up the wall right now.
Oh, Trickin' A?
Yes, JJ.
The Elegant Tag Team.
First Class Trickin'.
But that being said, it's one of those things that I never want to see somebody lose their job or someone even get injured. But again, longevity is key to that connectivity. And whether or not you actually are in the ring or you're in a backstage segment and you say something funny that people remember for life, like Stuff and Uzi. It's just one of those things that at the end of the day, if you bring something memorable, people do care about and they will follow you along because of it, no matter what happens to you. And we saw how quick that turnaround was. So again, whether it was all part of the plan or not, Ron Killings compared to everybody else that was released prior to, our Truth in that 24-hour sprint have more of a connection than anybody else. Yes, JJ, I see your hand. Go ahead and speak.
I just wanted to piggyback on what you're saying about making a connection and tie it into Nestor's comment. Case in point, Mr. Iguana at the AAA show.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All anybody has to do to illustrate Noah's point right there is look at the success of Mr. Iguana. That little hand puppet taking the Spanish Fly and then getting stomped Ric Flair style and elbow dropped like Flair would do to his sports coat.
Yep.
Got that dude more over than he is probably, and I stress probably because I'm not too familiar with AAA, ever been in his life. And that man is going to eat good now.
Yeah, he fitting to be a millionaire. The fact that people call him a rookie when he's got 16 years of experience is ridiculous.
Exactly. He's one of the oldest tenured individuals in AAA. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, as I was saying during our call. Go back and watch those, folks. Jeff, I saw your hand. You have something you want to say real quick?
Well, I don't know who's going to be brought up tonight as a topic. I just have a question for the panel and anybody watching because I can't see what our numbers are because I'm not producing, right? I have a serious issue with Rikishi and his podcast becoming the "What about me? What about my boy?" show. Look, I get protecting your own. Look, I understand that, and I've made it no. I've never fight about it. I love Rikishi. I love the Anawahi. They made me oops, right? Like I love those guys. But Rikishi coming out on his show and complaining about the booking is not doing Jay any favors at all. You have to believe it's all part of the plan, right? I mean, for me, JJ made my point about the world title future between now and Vegas next year. Like, it just makes sense to have Sammy win the King of the Ring, step faster on him, and do the Daniel Bryan thing. But that story worked brilliantly, and Sammy's less likely to have a neck injury. With all respect to Bryan, we love Bryan. But Jay losing the championship after how many days is not going to derail Jay. You know, how many champions? Greg Cherry put it up on his TikTok, and he's gotten like buku feedback. Like, how many champions won at WrestleMania and lost relatively quickly? and still went on to have his own uncle, Uncle Rodney. I see one of the reviews together. You know, it's for me. And I have so much respect for that family. I just wish that Rikishi would just know better, because we know he knows. Trust the process. Trust the process. Man. Seriously, please.
Fair point. And you see this little stat list right here to Jeff's point. I was just thinking about that as well. Longevity with a championship doesn't necessarily have to be a thing, especially for somebody during a first run when they already built that connection, like I said, with the audience. Jey Uso was freaking over since he painted his face and did the freaking Hoffa dance with his brother. All right?
Yes.
Calm down, people. So to Jeff's point, I completely get that, and you all can further read into these stats. Walter, I did see your hand while you are behind this graphic.
It's okay. I literally was gonna say all that, but then you put that graphic up. I knew that off the top of my head. I was like, Yoko literally won and lost at WrestleMania 9. Drew lost in 5 minutes. Yeah. Cena is the most cashed in person ever. Like most people cashed in on Cena. So it's like it ain't just Jey Uso. Calm down, Rikishi. Trust the process.
And at the end of the day, Yoko not only recovered masterfully, for all intents and purposes, for 9 years, he was the death knell of Hulkamania. If you're a true WWF fan, he killed Hulkamania. Never saw him again until 2002. So this one was okay.
I literally said it on a collective space not too long ago. I feel like a lot of these guys, and I give a little bit of a pass for Keish because he's just looking out for his boys. But
I get that, but he also knows better things. Like
that's my point. I agree.
Lead by example. You're a father, for Pete's sake. Lead by example for your kids.
The thing that annoys me about him is like he fucking talks about this shit like, oh, back in my day, if you were the most over, you would be the champion. Keish, you were over like fucking Rover during the Attitude Era, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you had the freaking Intercontinental title all of 2 weeks.
Give or take.
The only reason Keish did not become a world champion is because the biggest push he got was because he did it with the Rock, and it was a horrible out. Horrible.
Yeah.
They had no resolution to that, so they just went, have Rikishi do it. Huh?
And then they had to pivot because it flopped so bad. Yeah. Like I remember that.
Yeah, it was
too.
In the brief moment of it happening, it was like, what? Then No Mercy happened, and then in the Survivor Series they pivoted to Austin and Hunter, and Rikishi got The Rock as a freaking appetizer instead. It's like, when The Rock is an appetizer on the plate, that's a problem. Just saying, especially in 2000.
Yeah, exactly. It's just absurd that he's coming in here and saying that shit. I feel like a lot of these podcasters now will just go on and say fucking anything now. Because.
You know what though? It worked for us in 2002 and into the 2000s, but that was when we were one of like 5 shows.
Yeah.
Now everybody's got a podcast.
Yeah.
So,
when you got a keyboard, you can say anything you want.
And Noah, I've said it so many times. I know I keep cutting you off as a moderator. Everyone has a podcast, and everyone has an opinion. And opinions are on assholes. Everyone has one, and needs to stick.
Yeah, just like everyone has a different opinion on Protoshita. That being said, Protoshita, whatever the hell you want to call it. JJ,
it's Protoshita. It's a full-on business.
Protoshita, damn it!
It's Protoshita.
Shut the fuck up, James.
No.
JJ, go ahead. You had your hand up. Please speak.
What Rikishi needs to realize is that it's okay to be the utility player.
Yes.
I compare Jey Uso's run, and I'm going to compare the inevitable Sami Zayn run to the runs of Mick Foley.
Yep. Good go.
How long did Mick Foley hold the championships?
79 days, all 3 reigns, roughly.
So combined over 3 reigns, barely longer than Jay's one reign.
Accurate.
Yep.
And what did Foley always say about himself? I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy that's going to catch the pass and run it down the field for a touchdown. But I'm the guy you can hand the ball off to that'll run it out of bounds for the first down. No, I know you're probably lost because you're not a big sports guy, but I'm the guy you can give it to get a few yards to set up the next big round of plays.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Jay was. We have gotten into an era, and I'm going to put a little bit of blame on Tony Khan because I feel like he started it, but Triple H has followed suit here. We have gotten into an era of way too fucking long title reigns being a norm.
Thank you.
Every title reign doesn't need to be 275 days, 320 days, a year plus. It's okay to have title reigns that last a month, 2 months. From Rumble to Mania, from Mania to SummerSlam, from SummerSlam to Survivor Series, from Survivor Series to Rumble. It's okay to do that as long as the story is intriguing. How many times did The Rock and Foley trade the title back and forth between Survivor Series Deadly Game when The Rock won it the first time and WrestleMania 15 when The Rock lost it to Austin? Because Mick won it 3 times over that run, and Rock had to get it back a couple times, right? Or no, he won it twice during the run. Third time was SummerSlam.
Yep.
So he won it twice during that run, and Rock had to get it back twice so he could have it going into Austin. So that's 4 title changes in the span of 4 months.
Yep.
That's an average of a month run per time. They weren't month runs. Some of those were a week, 2 weeks. Because Foley won it the fucking, like the first Raw of 99, and Rock got it back at the Rumble. And then Foley got it back 2 weeks later at Halftime Heat.
I was going to say, in real time,
Massacre.
Yeah, in real time, The Rock's second reign was 2 days. And in TV time, it was a week.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like,
but freaking Jey Uso, who, with all respect to Jey Uso, was not the freaking Rock.
Yeah, I was going to say, and The Rock is the great one. He's the Wayne Gretzky of pro wrestling. He's the great one, the most electrifying man of all of entertainment.
Arguably one of the greatest wrestlers in the history of WWE, Shawn Michaels, won the world title and lost it in like 31 days.
As long as the story is compelling.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the story matters more than the championships and the champions. It's all about the story at the end of the day. That being said, we don't. Yeah, TNT.
And to Nick's point, the reason it was bitched about was because there wasn't compelling stories.
Mm-hmm.
AEW is finally starting to do compelling stories.
Well, again,
it's taken them almost 6 years.
There was a time when long title reigns were the jaw-dropping surprise. Like when Punk did it, that was not the norm. The norm was quicker title changes. When Punk had the title for 400 whatever days, we were all like, "Holy shit!" That was more of a shock.
Yeah.
And who did he lose it to? The fucking
Rock.
Rock, just to move it back to Cena in a month.
Mm-hmm.
Or 2 months, whatever it was.
2 months.
And people are still mad about it to this day that CM Punk lost the title to The Rock and The Rock losing it to John Cena, which I will argue that if The Rock didn't beat John Cena, if The Rock didn't beat CM Punk for the title, guess who does CM Punk would have lost that title to?
Cena.
Which I don't think people would have had as much of an issue to. The fact was that he lost it to a part-timer just to lose it back to John Cena. Instead of giving Punk the main event of WrestleMania so he could lose it back to Cena himself.
True. So you can also make the argument that fans are also fickle, that because around that time people will be like, if Punk did lose to Cena, you'd get fans bitching that, oh, typical WWE, building up someone just to ultimately feed him to John Cena, which was the norm at the time, sadly.
Golden
Agreed. It definitely was a. Go ahead, Jeff. You're trying to get in there and you got the background noise, so.
I was talking over you, Jay. You're good. By all means.
It definitely was a double-edged sword. You know, I was and still am a huge CM Punk fan. I was the only person in the house that was fucking cheering for The Rock in that fucking angle. Because it damn sure wasn't the man over at the House of Mouse. But as happy as I was to see The Rock as champion again, I was pissed that Punk lost the title.
Same.
Hey.
For me, it was there was so much more, and again, biased as hell, is what it is, of John's redemption story. You think about in real life, and they wove it so well into the story of the match, the rematch, that his personal life ended a tailspin. JJ and I were far too knowledgeable about how swirly that tailspin went. Like, we knew way too much information. But it was a great story when he got the belt back, and he got it back from The Rock after what happened at WrestleMania the previous year. I agree. Punk was ultimately done dirty, and I still think, even though there was a whole lot that happened between WrestleMania 29 and the Royal Rumble in 2014, that was one of those, that moment of him not getting the main event at WrestleMania that year was the little pebble at the top of the mountain gathering the snow. That was the fishing point, I think, for Punk. Because over that 9 months, everything just compounded on. So, but again, going back to the point, it's short title reigns do not necessarily mean the end of everything. You can be a WWF champion for one day and be the mayor of a major city in a state, like when. It's not the end of the world as you know it, Kishi. Jay will be fine.
Exactly.
Hell, because of pre-taping, Christian in real life only held the title for 2 days.
Yeah.
It looked like 5 because of the magic of pre-taping.
Right.
So heated about that because can I tell you something?
Uh-huh.
I was a big fan of Christian. I remember being 8 years old, telling my mom, Christian's going to be world champion someday. And 10 years later, when I was 18, he won the title, and I fucking cried because I was so happy because my boy finally won the title. And then I found out when he lost it as quickly as he did. Holy shit, was I ever heated.
Well, there's fans being fickle and there's fans being passionate. There's also fans that live in the past and there are fans that actually grow in the present. Speaking of which, we got another $2 super chat from Manuel Dominguez.
In all fairness, I did like the feud, though. So
well, Ash, why don't you go ahead and kick this thing off? Let the lady go first. Should fans stop using Attitude Era? Did it okay? Because so much comparison when it comes to this era, that era. There's no better age than the Attitude Era. I remember one particular time where a certain gentleman was in a hotel room with Bossman Aaron Riff and told him in his most tranquilo way, the Attitude Era is fucking dead. And it's never coming back. Now, Ash, what do you think about this comment about this compare and contrast? You think fans should stop using the Attitude Era did okay and think that this era is kind of doing it okay despite the criticism towards any company?
It's just how some people are. It's the way the wrestling fans are. It's just if the era you grew up in and that you have fond memories of, you're going to think is the best no matter what. Mm-hmm. And as wrestling continues and goes on, a lot of ideas are going to be borrowed from different eras. And it's all subjective of which era you think is the best. We can debate it all day long, and there's no right opinion and there's no wrong opinion because each era has their positives and each era has their negatives.
Well said. Let's go to Walter next on this super chat, and then we'll go in just I decide order. JJ, then James, and Jeff to finish things off here, considering we've all gone for the Attitude Era. We've lived through the reality era. We lived through the PG era. Now we're living in the Netflix era with the All Elite Contingency and Total Nonstop Action reborn with NXT crossover. That being said, Walter, what do you think about this comment?
The inevitable. It's always gonna happen in every sport. Every sport does it. The Jordan is better than LeBron. Everything gets compared. It's inevitable. Unfortunately, you're never gonna be able to end it. So whether we can complain from here until the cows go home, it's never gonna stop. It's always gonna be a comparison because that's the nature of the business. It's the nature of the beast. So it's what happens.
Yeah, about to say some people just can't let the past go. They have to keep it forever, even in a freaking time capsule.
Look at the subject we just talked about. We had to compare the past title reigns just to make our points to now with the whole Jey Uso thing.
Yeah, that's fair. I did see a comment real quick, so actually I'm going to Swerve real quick. Jeff, what do you think about this? You know, again, you've gone through the Attitude Era, of course, and everything else, and right now he's listening to something overhead.
I'm going to try to talk over the PA doing the intro there for about 15 minutes of what I was talking about. So I have never, and if I have, I don't recall having. I apologize for being a hypocrite and saying it. I don't really think we should ever be Attitude Era was better, only because everything in this life must evolve. Everything. You don't adapt and perish. That's just life, not just wrestling. That's just life in general. Right? So I really think that we all need to live and die by that code. You don't adapt and perish. And, you know, the Attitude Era was wonderful, but a lot of the Attitude Era ages like milk. Right? You know, you had a tag team of two guys whose occupational professions were going to be the tag team name Supply and Demand. It doesn't fly in 2025 and have the Godfather Valdez be part of the show. Just throwing that out there. But Attitude Era was great for reasons. Golden Era was great for reasons. Hell, even the early 90s, mid-90s stuff, for all the bad, there was some really good in that time period. Same with this progression. Same with the dreaded PG era. There was some solid stuff in that time. Everybody has their cup of tea. JJ will forever argue that. He came in NXT during the Bright era, but there was some damn good stuff in NXT that evolved into what we have now, which is arguably the best NXT we ever had. Arguably. So, yes, we should definitely stop. Absolutely.
Well said. All right, James, what do you think about this? I mean, you've definitely had your fair share of on and offs when it comes to all of this versus that. I mean, you've even taken hiatuses because of conversations like this. So is there anything you want to further add with people still using the past about, you know, the past is not going to come back, but it was better then than it is now. It did. Okay, we're not doing things right here. What do you want to say towards this comment? And then we'll finish this out with JJ. You're muted. Botch.
Sorry. Copy and paste with what Walter and JJ just, Walter and Jeff just said. Sorry, I'm tired, and I'm too tired to even think and talk about this. Bottom line, shit evolves, shit changes, deal with it, or get the fuck out.
Or shit devolves into proto shit.
Yeah. Take a giant ass proto shit and leave it all in the toilet.
That's what his brain keeps doing. It keeps taking proto shits.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Stop it.
Well, that absolutely we get over in the Attitude Era. Protoshita? Oh yeah, take my money.
Protoshita. Oh my god.
I mean you know, I remember back in the Ruthless Aggression Era. Now that I think about it, that Big Show with that burrito and Eddie Guerrero, he took a real mean Protoshita.
All right.
He took a real mean Protoshita. I'm just
all right, James.
This is James' way of getting you back for the somethings.
No, Protoshita. There you go. Protoshita.
Hi, JJ. I'm about out real quick because I gotta go now. But JJ, you'll appreciate this. I have a pair of Fantasmic rookies right next to you. They're gonna see the show for the first time.
Nice.
Yeah, first time. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna go, guys. Thank you all. I always love being a part of it, however small I can be. Let's see. It's coming week. No DQ review and Greg Cherry show this week. So stay tuned for those. I'll be on there. I love you all and miss you all terribly. I will definitely see you guys on July 19th. Hopefully, if the company gives me the day off.
fair
Enjoy
enough.
yourself, Jeff. We always love you, brother. Take care.
Yes,
Happy
sir.
Father's Day, and enjoy the show. And then there
Enjoy.
were 5. Oh, good Lord, I'm gonna lose.
Okay, so,
Mind.
as I
That
said,
being- all right. That being
Protoshita.
said, Protoshita.
Protoshita.
Shut the fuck up. And before I give it to JJ, damn it, James, you freaking idiot!
There we go.
Oh God, Lord have mercy. JJ, go ahead and finish this thing out regarding Emmanuel Dominguez's super chat before we take a commercial break and maybe people do unless we get anything else. What do you got to say regarding this?
Honestly, I don't think I can offer anything any different than what Walter and Jeff did. You know, it's always going to happen, whether we wanted to or not. It's the equivalent of, well, back in my day, you know, as a parent tells their kid, or an older brother tells their younger sibling, you know, back in my day, we did this and this, we had this and this. You know, you get a kid that asks their parent, Dad, why don't you like this and you used to like it? Well, back in my day was the Attitude Era, and it was uncensored, unfiltered. You know, you could do, like Jeff was alluding to, have a pimp and a porn star as a tag team.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't fly today, especially with like the Me Too movement and everything. Like you just know. There's so much stuff that was done between 97 and we'll even go into like 03 that you just couldn't get away with anymore.
Man, this desensitized.
And to Jeff's point, I just think it's always going to be a matter of the best era was the era you were introduced to. You know, and he made my point perfectly, you know, in bringing up the Rainbow Bride NXT. You, Noah, were a firm fanatic of the black and gold.
Still am for life.
I
black
missed
and red.
I missed the black and gold. I came into it after it had converted to Rainbow Bright. I never saw what you saw. So when you were spouting off not my NXT and talking about how garbage it is, I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Like, what are you talking about? You know, now that I've seen some black and gold NXT because of the DVDs that I got and reviewed on my members only section way back in the day, you know, I can kind of see where you were coming from. But even still, the black and gold doesn't hit to me like the stuff now does, the stuff in the Rainbow Bride era does, because that was my genesis. I can find the black and gold entertaining. I can see why those that came up in that era like it, but it's not my era. Pretty much everything that came after it is. So I hold that a little bit closer to the chest than I do the forefathers, if you will. And I feel like it's the same thing, you know, with the Attitude Era. People that came in the New Generation era hold that special. New Generation era is looked back upon as one of the worst eras in WWF. But if you became a fan of that during that era, that's going to hit a little bit closer for you because that was what brought you in as a fan. As garbage as it may be in comparison these days, there was something there that resonated with you and hooked you. Same with the Attitude Era. That's when I became a fan. Going into the Highway to Hell, SummerSlam 98. Same with the people that came in the Ruthless Aggression Era. People that were Attitude Era heads gave the Ruthless Aggression Era a lot of shit in the beginning, but then we warmed up to it.
Yes.
Then the PG Era. That still gets a lot of shit. The PG Era is looked on almost as crappy as the New Generation Era.
Mm-mm.
It was during the PG Era that I tuned out of wrestling. Which is why I made the comments that I made when I was doing commentary with Noah during Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
Established stars winning the briefcase. That's the shit that made me stop watching, was seeing the same people in the main event picture. When guys were scrounging to come up and not getting their shine.
Yeah.
I justify Naomi because she's had a serious shift in character. She has been on the losing end of a bunch of shit since her return at the Rumble 24. I can justify hers. Seth doesn't need a briefcase.
No.
If he does what I think he's going to do, I understand it. But that doesn't mean I have to like it. Especially when there's other people that were in that match that could have benefited from the push of having the briefcase.
In LA, just saying. That's fair. Again, as you would say, that's fair.
Yeah, so I just, whether we should stop comparing, like Emmanuel asked or not, I think is irrelevant. I think whatever era you came into as a fan of professional wrestling, it's always going to the modern era that is currently on, whatever era that is. Right now, it's the Netflix era. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it could be the Amazon era or the AI era or whatever. Whatever era you come into, it is the modern product is going to get compared to the era you became a fan. And for all of us, it's going to be different. Jeff came into it in 1990. So it was kind of still the golden era on the way to becoming the new generation era. Mike became a fan around the same time. Statboy Mikey. Walter's a little bit younger than me, but he's been a fan a lot longer than me. I'm not sure exactly when he came into it. You guys in the top row are a little bit younger. You guys probably came into it in the Ruthless Aggression era.
1992, actually.
That's when you started watching diligently?
When my mom first put that on the screen and I started to comprehend what I was seeing, I was compelled by the likes of British Bulldog, Shawn Michaels, Bret the Hitman Hart. The answer is yes.
When were you born again, Noah? I thought you were born after 92.
No, I was born in 1992. I'm 33 years old, bruv.
Okay. For some reason, I thought you were a little bit younger. Not much younger than that. I thought you were closer to like the mid-90s.
Nope.
Okay, so you've been a fan about as long as Jeff and Mikey then. So Ash and James then probably came in closer to the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression era like me, correct?
For me, I started watching, I first started watching wrestling in 1997 after the Montreal Screwjob happened.
Okay.
And I didn't start watching weekly until the Invasion angle happened.
Okay.
Ash, I also started watching in 97 after the Montreal Screwjob.
Okay, so the birth of the Attitude Era. Okay.
Like I said, these two have a connection that we didn't know, much more than just their tism. But please
So
continue.
they're a little bit closer to when I came into it. I actually came in after they did. And I'm the oldest one in the room, so go figure that one out.
You're the one that exposed your age. No one asked you for it. I'm just saying.
No, I know.
I'm 29.
Everybody knows I'm the oldest one in the room, so.
And we don't ever ask a lady's age. I mean, you're just.
I was born in 92 as well.
Hey, class 92. That's what's up.
My brother's over there exposing my age. Damn.
I'm 95. I somehow remember the fucking Montreal thing at when I was 2 or 3.
Well, that's one of those infinite moments that you're going to remember as much as this right here. Damn it, Walter. Infamous as always. Oh my gosh.
He deserves better.
Kai and Tai.
Yes, he did deserve a lot better than he got.
Indeed.
Both
So-
Taka and Funaki.
But that's my ultimate point on it.
And simply put, you summed it up perfectly. There's always going to be the this versus now, not just in wrestling, but in anything. And at the end of the day, you can want something to be what it once was, but it most likely just isn't going to happen. Adapt or perish, that is evolution. Paul Levesque said it best, even if it was just for a wrestling group gimmick. It really does supply to life, because if something's not evolving, it's dying. And as far as I'm concerned, professional wrestling isn't going to die anytime soon, even if something might be too big to fail or may not be too big to fail. That also depends whether or not you're even in that business quota. But bottom line, as long as we got somebody in a four-sided ring on our screen, professional wrestling is not going to die. It's just going to continue to evolve, and it's going to continue to be something different. You just got to go along with it, or you could just live in nostalgia if that's truly what you're about. All right. Well, that was a great conversation piece, and thank you again, Charles, for that. We've had a lot of fun, a lot of great talk. Again, we are in the open mic night session here, and it looks like we're not leaving them soon, but I am going to let people take a break. So once again, if you need to go take what they're calling it, Protoshita.
Protoshita.
It's what John Cena took when he was the prototype.
If you need to go take
and then rewound it back and did it again.
Oh, Lord, it's the never-ending cycle, apparently. Well, this thing's going to end eventually, but it doesn't look like it's going to end yet. So my moderation here is going to continue.
World life.
So we will see you once again after we run our watch lunch. We're going to continue conversations based on your super chats and questions. We'll see you after this short emission after the next 90 seconds.
And now for a taste of things to come.
And again, you're tuning in for the very first time. Truly here at the Cibao Studios, we engage, react, we cover, we commentate, we criticize, we embrace, celebrate, and look at all the wrestling. As James' brain is slowly dying as we speak. And welcome back here once again to your weekly moderated conversation of wrestling matters. That is the Shenanigans. I am your host for the evening. Lord help me. My name is Noah Foster. We are with Ash, James, and two fathers. And to those on the East Coast, happy Father's Day. Walter Cruz, American Wrestling JJ One. Shout out again to Jeff Meacham, who was here earlier. As the conversation keeps going,
I've got to say, Noah, to cut you off real quick. We got to start getting you on some of these GCW calls, especially with the impending debut/return to GCW of Shotzi Blackheart, Elena Black, and Priscilla Kelly.
Yeah.
We got to get you on some of these shows, man. That Coney Island one looks like it's going to be fucking fun as hell. And then the 3 nights in Japan, that's right up your alley too, bruv. We got to get you on some of these GCW shows.
Yeah, it just comes down to my schedule and my availability. The same thing with House of Glory, with Indy Hartwell being the House of Glory women's champion. Of course, TNA right now has my full attention, Killer Kelly. And Macho Slammers are finally going to run it for the TNA Knockouts World Championship. Let's fucking go. And of course, the Slammiverses are the great time. Again, all the wrestling, too much wrestling. I'm not here all the time for all the wrestling. So, again, and also we got in Wrestling Revolver, the Virtuosa, Dion Perazzo and Steve Macklin, the couple of Mayhem for All, taking on Killer Goat, Killer Kelly and Myron Reed. So again, there's a lot of great stuff. It all just comes down to scheduling. Plus, I'm keeping up with Stardom and New Japan Pro Wrestling. By the way, quick little side note. Unfortunately, due to obligations out of my control, again, Pros of Passions, I will not be covering Dominion live, but I think I will do a simple take. And Ash, if the G1 Climax field is revealed, you need to definitely try and do something to do a bracketology, and I will be happy to assist you with it.
And I just want to address this real quick, since this is the second time Emmanuel has posted about this. Priscilla Kelly posted on her X that her patella came out of place. It does that from time to time. It's an anatomy issue that she's had her whole life, and she's managed to always work through it, even sometimes continuing matches after it happens. It's not an injury. It just hurts a good bit, and I have to pop it back in place. Now you know. So, Emmanuel, love you, bruv, but stop spreading falsehoods. That's not accurate.
She's not injured.
And knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe said it best. All right. Well, that being said, we're getting close to the end here. Again, James is slowly reaching that point to flatline.
There's also, but there's a super chat.
Yes, there was a super chat. If you would let me host.
Sorry.
And again, Ash Walter will top behind,
His tism is tisming.
and his brain is slowly sleeping and dying. All right. Well, let's go ahead and see if we can finish this thing off. And because the fact that he is tired as fuck, I'm going to try and wake him up by having him talk about the super chat since you wanted to acknowledge it first. Emmanuel at $2 super chat says, how would you feel if Naomi is the first to fail the Money in the Bank cash? And considering the women is 100% success rate. James, go ahead.
I will take a Protoshita on that creative decision.
It'll be JJ's favorite kid from social media. You know, JJ.
He's a kid. Bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit.
I echo the sentiment, dude. As anti Naomi winning as I was, if she fails to cash in,
what are we doing?
I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah, what the fuck are we doing?
Especially when, she's technically in the right here.
Yeah.
Every time she tried to win the title from Nia, Tiffy stuck her nose into things.
Yep.
So if she can't get her revenge on Tiffany, that's going to be major bullshit.
And we also would be, it wouldn't be the first time, but we would just be wasting our time as viewers when it's clearly obvious if they just decide, oh no, yeah, let's completely throw a curveball because we like to be unpredictable. Sometimes unpredictability is a bad thing.
Yeah, the only way I could see them being unpredictable is if she cashes in on Io for some reason.
Yep.
Just to get her away from Bianca and Jade. That's only going to be temporary because the draft is supposed to be in September now. So one of them could still end up getting drafted to whatever branch she's on.
She can't avoid him.
But that's the only way I could see there being a swerve is if she cashes in on Io to temporarily get away from them.
Nia had something to do with it. Trinity and Nia are working together. They're just not trying to make it obvious to watch.
I mean, the fridge needs to have something stored in it, so I guess ice works.
Oh, my
God. Ash, what do you guys say regarding this right here? How would you feel if Naomi is the first to fail the cash in? You're muted. Botch.
Sorry, I didn't realize. I'm kind of mixed on the situation. Like, I'd like for Naomi to cash in successfully. I'm also of the mind that if she does fail, I hope it's for like a good, legit storyline reasoning, kind of like what they did with Punk and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, that's fair. We saw how well that feud went all the way out to freaking October in Hell in a Cell. So, I mean, that's fair. And presumably, it feels like Naomi's due for a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, I was about to say, Jade and Naomi are still feuding, are they not?
Yes. I think so, yeah.
You think it's possible that Jade could try to be the reason why Naomi fails her cash in, and that also catapults their feud, kind of or continues it like what they did with I'm just saying, it's just it's an idea that I have in my mind. I don't want it to happen, but I'm just saying it's a thing that could happen.
Best revenge, best case scenario revenge wise, is Jade winning Queen of the Ring, winning the title, and Trinity cashes in on her ass and beats Jade for it.
And Jade is still in the Queen of Wing tournament after winning her Fatal 4-Way qualifier, and also Alexa Bliss won hers. So you're not wrong.
Yeah, I kind of see what Walter said happening.
I agree with Walter's whole.
The storyline of the women's division on SmackDown is going to be Naomi versus Jade Cargill sooner rather than later to finish out, and it's going to involve gold, I think, too, probably. James, I see your hand there real quick. You got one more thing to say?
I just accidentally raised my hand because I'm tired. I don't know.
Oh, fair enough.
All right, don't mind me. I'm trying to stay awake as much.
It's
as
all right, bro.
We never do, mind you.
About to say, and Ryan, he's never been okay, but we tolerate it to a degree.
Is that your Ryan, James?
What happened? Yes, Ryan of the Dirty Crew. That is my Ryan. Yes. What were you saying? Yes. Hi, Ryan. You're cool. What were you saying, Ash?
I was about to let Ryan know that you are doing fine. You got nothing to worry about.
Oh yeah. I'm just fucking exhausted, Ryan. Don't mind me. I'm doing my best impersonation of a blind swordsman. It's great.
His tism does the tism thing, and his brain takes the Protoshita.
Are you sure that Ryan's got nothing to worry about? I'm just saying.
And Ryan, we know how it's pronounced, bro. Like we're just doing it as a gimmick at this point. We know it's Protoshita. We're just making fun of the way it looks.
It is hilarious. I can't see it any other way around.
We just want to work Noah. That's all it is.
Protoshita.
Protoshita.
Damn it.
Protoshita.
Tasha. Anyway, let's move on. And that being said, I think the best way to move on, I'm going to one day get the millionaire horn in the sound effects here to be the closing thing, because guess what? That's it. Well, folks, thank you all for tuning in once again to Saturday Shenanigans. Let's go ahead and do everyone's plugs before we get the heck out of here. And again, to all the fathers, happy Father's Day. We'll start with the most tired man on the panel, so we finally go GTS. So, James, go ahead, tell where the people can find you and what you've been up to.
You can find me. I can't do the fucking animal tonight. Fuck that. YouTube and Twitter, JHebert.95, and on Facebook at James Hebert. I will say and have some energy for this. I do really cool and dumb things on the internet. One of the things I did, I joined the collective. You could take it off for a second. Join the collective on the spaces and on the Discord. So join us on the spaces and join us on the Discord. I have, in fact, retweeted our schedule. So go check out the WC Worldwide. WC Worldwide, because they're cool. And you should enjoy them. And that's as much as I could be happy about things, because I'm, excited about things. I'm very happy to be a part of the collective, don't get me wrong. But as excited as I can be as how tired I am. So yeah, WC Worldwide, Wrestling Collective. Go check them out. My Uncle's Doc. I did it. It's out. Part 2. It's a thing. It's not a mystery anymore. It's out right now. You could check that out right now on my uncle's website, www.garyhebert.com. Go and check it out, and then subscribe to the YouTube channel, Gary Space. Yes, that's it. Hebert. Go check that out. It's really good. Put a lot of work into it. There's a lot of crazy names. If you thought part 1 had crazy names, part 2 has crazier names. Be on the lookout. Yes, it's great. And then I did a Let's Play, which is part of the reason I'm so tired, because I've been on the air for literally like 7 hours, I think. Yeah, something like that. And then I worked like from 8 o'clock this morning. It's great. Yes, I know. So yeah, go check out part 11 and part 12 respectively. Part 12 has been pre-recorded and will be dropping tomorrow. It's one last time free roaming Isle Delfino. Part 11 I did tonight before the stream, and yeah, it was fun. I raged a lot. I did it in the collective space. Again, join the collective. And with that, I'm gonna do a grandiose tired ass exit. There it goes. Light off here. Light off there. A good night.
goodbye and good night, you crazy fool. We'll see you Wednesday for Grand Slam Mexico, probably. Adios.
Yes, I will see you Wednesday for Grand Slam. Adios mio.
Oy vey, go take a siesta. All right.
Take a shitter.
Protoshita. That being said, JJ, I did see your hand. What you guys say real quick, and then we'll even have you do your plugs.
Never mind. I was going to ask James a question, but he left.
Just get after him in the freaking private and maybe keep him up all night by just trying to message him. Anyway, be his alarm clock. All right. Well, that being said, let's go ahead and actually do get your plugs. Because, again, folks, I don't usually do this, but I'm happy to have a friend. JJ, always a pleasure. Again, what you've been up to lately, feel free to share any thoughts you have. And, of course, tell other people can find you.
You can find me on X at ROWJJ Williams and Casa D18 Studio. Casa D18 Studio is the one where I host and participate in spaces. Of course, follow me and subscribe at the Casa D18 Studios YouTube channel. And you can find me on Instagram at the Renegade JJ Williams. I do want to give a shout out to Noah for hosting the Shenanigans again this week. And a big thank you to all the people that have tuned in and are still tuned in to the show tonight. Greatly appreciated. And thank you.
And thank you.
And happy
JJ,
Father's Day to all the dads out there.
including you. God bless you. And thank you, JJ. Again, always happy to help. And Emmanuel Dominguez, this is with another $1 just a sticker of Glacius. Thank you for that as well. Well, Walter, again, I'm sure we're going to be doing a watch long here pretty soon, retro or live. It's always a pleasure engaging with you, whether gaming or talking wrestling. I know you're tired too, and also you are a father, so happy Father's Day to you. But please go ahead and tell what already La Princess Travis tells us to do. How can people connect and find you?
Yeah, happy National Underwear and Socks Day, because that's basically all it boils down to. That's pretty much what Father's Day. Or tie for the church people. But you can join me on the YouTube, the bread and butter at Rage of Wrestling. On Instagram, Walter.Cruz.940. X at Walter Alex Cruz. I chilled out with the spaces for a while, trying to move across country is kind of busy, so I don't have time to do as much as I usually do. And then now that's also on Blue Sky, but I'm not as active on that. So the bread and butter is Walter is the Rage of Wrestling YouTube channel. Please, I'm getting more and more subscribers daily, but we got to get up to that 200 so we can get to Vegas and see WrestleMania now that it's officially back in Vegas, which sucks for Ricky Saints because he could have been big in his hometown, New Orleans, but politics happen. But yeah, please subscribe.
Subscribe, or as he would tell you in his own language, subscribing. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, you got to get back to the gaming, I think, Walter, and doing that at least on occasion, because Papa Gino's up to over 600 subscribers, and I know he started just recently, so it's like, damn, bro. You're struggling. We need to get you up to those 200. Got to figure out a catch.
Yeah, gaming will soon be. I can't reveal it because certain people in the family are watching, but some other systems are going to come into play.
Gee, I wonder where you might be going across the world of gaming soon enough when you once again choose to level up. Well, fair enough. And again, good luck in that pursuit. Be safe, bro. Ash. Always an insane pleasure. I hope you continue to stay batty. Appreciate you, young punk, even though sometimes you are a dickhead. But go ahead and tell where the people can find you.
You can find me on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, at ShadowBadAsh, and subscribe to my YouTube channel at Batty for Wrestling.
Yeah, simply put, don't be a dickhead, folks. Do it. Do it now. You see how many of you are watching? Do it now. If you know you're watching on there, you're foolish. Do it now. Batty for Wrestling. Don't be a dickhead. All right, fair enough. And again, they did talk about the spaces. You could find some of these fine folks throughout the week in all the spaces, along with DJ, who is also in the chat. Whether it's Rock and Ropes, Wrestling with Tism, a tribalism-free zone. We need more of those, honestly. Or just something simple. No, that does not involve me. I don't know how it's simple, but I guess it is. Again, follow the Superchatted Studios in and out of the week on the spaces when you can. And again, if you wish to follow me, again, follow Ash, follow Walter. They deserve the love. I'm just happy to help my friends with something at any time when I can. But if you want to be part of City Predicting or you want to hear more of my takes, choose to follow me on the X and on YouTube at Foster1916 for all things wrestling. Shout out, of course, to my entire AEW fam across the social media's platform. We'll be bringing back the interview impromptu probably after next week's Dynamite. That's the 25th because, of course, we're covering Grand Slam this week. And that's the only thing I know that I'm on tap for this week. So we'll see what else happens. Although Walter, Ash, and I will try and also come up with content, retro or live, as we prepare for G1 Climax season. Again, for our passions, I won't be covering Dominion live, but we will be covering that some point in the near future, I assure you, because it is the supercar of NJPW during the summer, and a lot of stuff is bound to go down, including our G1 Climax, probably block reveal or strategy, if not scheduled. The premier professional wrestling tournament of the year. And again, there's a lot of City Predicting coming up. Of course, the next City Predicting will be Night of Champions, courtesy of WWE. And then we'll, of course, have TNA Summiversary, AEW All In, NXT, Great American Bash. And we go from there with the biggest companies, including ROH, finally picking up Spain's with Supercar of Honor. So stay tuned for more on that. But that's really all I got to say for right now. As I always like to remind you and encourage you, there are no winners, no losers, no betters, just fans with opinions for this passion we all share. At the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality too, even if it has tism. And again, just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling. It is truly as simple as that. But with that being said, thank you so much once again for tuning in to another edition of the Saturday Shenanigans. Please like, subscribe.
Let's do something about these subscriptions.
Something! Subscribe. And again, subscribe. And tell a friend. Hit the bell as video goes live on demand on any of the channels here at the Super Reliable Studios. Of course, hit the subscribe button. I assure you, the passion, the creativity, the content, the expenses of my dignity and my blood pressure boiling is not going to let up anytime soon. I assure you. And again, thank you to everybody that's been tuning in. Emmanuel, Ryan, we saw Nicholas Ferrante, of course, Nestor, Christopher Lakier, Safet, Ray J, Charles. Again, if I forgot your name, I apologize. I can't remember all of you, but you all make this possible. You are the reason why the passion continues to progress and continues to be showcased and why we pontificate. And thank you, Emmanuel, for the even $10 to just cuz. I mean, again, even numbers matter. But I know what else matters, and that is sleep, because we all need it too. So I think now we'll bid you all officially a fine adieu. So in my typical British game show fashion, as I like to do, for the Renegade Wrestling JJ Williams, Chase U alumni, who is Avatar Man, happy Father's Day again. Say goodbye.
Bye.
And a throwback to NSYNC or Backstreet, you tell me.
It's NSYNC.
Yeah, okay, you would know. I wouldn't. Caitlin would know too. I don't follow that type of stuff. I only follow wrestling. For Mr. Reliable, Walter Cruz, yes, I did not forget about Lily's Wheel of Fortune vendetta against me either. We will eventually get back to that. I will win again too. Walter, please say goodbye.
Adios, folks.
Fair enough. For our baddie friend, NJPW, all elite and all around comfortable, fun, engaging wrestling fan, our Canadian friend Ash, please say goodbye.
Have a good night, guys.
And for me, it is finally a goodbye, too, as I remind you, as always, make a positive impact in life. Have a good night. This has been the Saturday Shenanigans. We thank all you for tuning in. And whether you celebrate Flat Day, Father's Day, Underwear Socks Day, or you take a Protoshita, we'll see you next time here at the Super Reliable Studios. Until then, have a good night, folks, and thank you for tuning in. Good grief.
El Grande Americano is not Chad Gable.
It's Chad Gable, you son of a bitch! Have a good night, folks. I will be vindicated!